public media from Fordham University. Tickets for Holiday Cheer for FUV are on sale now. Visit WFUV.org.
And welcome into One-on-One, New York's longest sports call-in show. I'm Owen Kelty, joined today by Kurt Sippel and Tucker Austin. And you can tell by Tucker that last night might not have been a good one for him. Me either. But for Kurt over here, it might have been one of the best hate watches of his life. And for, I know a lot of people, one of the best hate watches of their lives. So before we get into the world that is sports right now, which is going everywhere. We got every sport going right now. I just want to get into it. How you guys doing today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Also, I have a gift, Owen. Here, you can have it.
Don't accept that.
I'm not taking
Don't
that.
accept
I'll
that.
leave it here for you.
I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at the
I'm
whole
just gonna leave
show.
it right there for you.
Nasty way to lose is a crazy headline.
It is. It was a nasty way to lose last night.
Yeah, say
It
that
was
again.
really nasty, but I'm here. It was a wonderful night for me. I stayed up, did my prep. I was really excited to watch that game. Got to watch a little of the Nets game. That was a little less exciting.
Some would say it's like worse than prison time watching the Nets.
I think watching the Yankees last night could have been like that, though.
I would agree.
I think that could have been a little worse.
I would agree with our pre-show discussion that this was one of the greatest World Series games ever. It just sucks as a Yankee fan.
For the Yankees.
I know. It just as a Yankee fan, it just sucks to watch.
I never want to remember it.
No, yeah, it sucks to watch them lose that way. But we should save this for later because we have a whole hour to talk about the World Series. But for me, I'm doing great. I took a midterm this week. Knicks are here again. They're back. We'll get into them later. But most of my sports are doing well right now, so I think I can hang my hat on that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a rough night for me. I was working the Knicks beat, which amazing experience. Like better than anything I could ever ask for. But coming home from the Knicks game, my hair is orange. It shouldn't be orange. My hair is black.
Talk about that on the Knicks game.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get into the Knicks segment. But my hair is orange. I was waiting for trains. I was watching the Yankee game on the Real app with service going in and out on the subway. And at one point, I saw that it loaded and the Yankees had gotten their second out, and this was in the bottom of the eighth. And then, so I saw 2 outs. Next thing I know, I see that next time I get service, it's a tie game, and we're going to the top of the ninth. No idea what happened. So that was not the most optimal way to find out. And then there was no train for 45 minutes once I got to Grand Central.
At least you got to watch the Yankee game.
But I was watching on my phone, just seeing in-play runs, in-play out. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
What is happening? People are texting me like,
MLB
what a catch by
Gamecast.
Verdugo. I'm like, yeah, I just saw in-play out. I mean,
it was a nice catch.
To me, that's a routine fly ball, but it was a weird way to end my night. It was still great that the Knicks won. That we're gonna talk about that. That was a good comeback win after Tuesday's game, which is why my hair is this color. But I'm super excited to talk about the Knicks. It was a great game last night, and I know you're excited to talk about your Nets.
I'm just excited to talk about basketball again, man. I'm a hoops head. I really enjoy basketball. Just all of it makes me happy. Even though I'm not a Knicks fan, I still want to talk about basketball. It's just my thing. It's my favorite thing to do. And also, I wanted to bring up the midterms thing.
Yeah.
I have to write an essay about bananas.
Oh yeah.
That's my midterm.
Just like
due Wednesday.
No real context with
It's
that.
like
Just
talking about the
thesis.
history of bananas.
Oh, okay. So a history. At least you have like a somewhat of a basis to write about. I feel like the prompt
what's
just
the word
bananas
count
would be
on
a little
this?
light.
It's like a 5-page essay about bananas.
Whoa. I mean, there's a rich history there.
There
I'm
is
not
a rich
gonna lie.
history.
There was a lot of questionable government dealings in South America when it comes to bananas.
That's why I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm not even joking.
That's genuinely true.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to bring that up just because I thought it was very ridiculous that I'm writing about bananas. But overall, New York sports, even better than writing about bananas. I think the Mets have have an even better time coming out of this postseason having a better offseason, hopefully. I just want to bring up the Mets a little bit because we might not have a lot of Mets for the show.
Yeah.
And watching the Yankees be in the World Series, at least one New York team is in the World Series. I would rather it be both, but it is what it is.
See, I would not have rather been both. I would 100% rather lose the Dodgers than play the Mets because the stress of watching a Yankees-Mets World Series. Because if the Yankees lost to the Mets, I'd never hear the end of it. Like, yeah, you lose to the Dodgers, lose to the Dodgers. But if they lost to the Mets, like, the ridicule would be.
I don't disagree with you on that.
I'd have to drop out.
I don't disagree with you on that, but. Also, I think it would have just been fun for New York, who's had a very big struggle with New York sports in recent memory, other than the Liberty winning their first championship this year.
I mean, the Yankees have been consistently good, just not good enough.
They haven't gotten back to the postseason. Not the
well,
postseason,
the World
but
Series.
the World Series. That's
Yeah.
what I meant to say. Which, I mean, that's the Yankees' measure of success.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. 27 rings over there. What do you got? 2? Hey,
slide that over
stop
further to you.
You see how it says there, though? Game 1.
Doesn't matter.
Seven-game series is another game tonight.
You see this guy? Yeah, you see
Fredward
what happened?
Freeman.
The first time he had first time walk-off grand slam in any game ever, for the World Series.
I love baseball, man.
I do
There's
too.
always something that's never happened before. It's insane. The game has existed for over 100 years, and there's still things that have never happened before.
I was listening to Michael Kay the other day, and he was just like, "Every time I watch baseball, I see something new.
Something different happens,
and that's incredible.
It's insane."
That's why baseball is the best sport. But before we're gonna end the show with some baseball talk, but we gotta talk. We're gonna be talking some Liberty because they ended that horrible, 50-something year basketball drought that has been going on in New York. The Liberty put it to an end, and it was a really good series for the WNBA.
Well, except Game 5.
Game
5 was interesting. Yeah,
yes,
it goes to overtime. Yes, it was a close game, but watching the fourth quarter and watching overtime, both these teams shot 30% from the field.
Not great hoops overall, but hey, a good game is a good game.
Good game was a good game. Good series is a good series. Going to Game 5, the Liberty should have taken care of it sooner, but it doesn't matter. Game 5 basketball is Game 5 basketball, or just playoff basketball, or finals basketball. In my head is finals basketball. So the more exciting, the better.
When are we getting 7-game series in the
next
WNBA?
year?
With
next
the expansion,
year.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting
cool.
7-game next year.
Nice.
With,
Because
there's a few
14,
expansion.
right?
Yeah.
I wonder.
We got,
I wonder how long until. I guess they need enough teams, but I just wonder how long it'll be until they have
Supposedly
conferences.
the league is growing.
Well,
a
they
lot.
have conferences, but how long until playoffs are organized
I'd say
by conference?
16 teams, and you do 8 and 8, 4 teams from each make playoffs.
Could happen.
Yeah.
But I also think that more teams are coming in. Supposedly, I read something. I'm not really sure if it's true. The Milwaukee Bucks ownership was looking into opening a WNBA franchise. You already have 3 new ones coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? The sky's the limit. At the end of the day, I feel like it's 30 teams having WNBA franchises at the end of this.
It's also, if people talk about WNBA, they're only in their 26th season.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about, if you put the NBA in terms in their 26th season, that was a long time ago.
George Mikan was carving up the floor.
And talk about those ratings probably weren't off the charts, and the sport probably wasn't the best. So the WNBA is continuing to grow, but it's Saturday, which what that means. It's college football day.
I was going to mention it. Probably the segment I am most excited for outside of the World Series is just college football because, we can never forget. It's fall. It's October. We are in the heart of the college gridiron season right now, and it's getting hot this week. We got 5 ranked versus ranked matchups that will break down all of them during that segment. But yeah, it's going to be a good Saturday in college football.
Might see some winning football in East Rutherford tonight.
Yeah,
someone's
got
crazy.
Hey.
That's incredible.
Somebody's
got a winning football team in there.
My Irish going to work against a ranked Navy.
Don't you have 8 college football teams?
It's more like 3.
Duke's in there, right?
No, God, no, not Duke.
Someone in the station has
a big Duke
4
fan.
teams, and Duke is one of them.
No, I hate Duke.
You got Notre Dame.
It's Notre Dame, Florida State.
It was you. I got Duke mixed up.
You got Duke and Florida State mixed up. Yeah. So
was it Rutgers in there too?
Well, Rutgers is just funny because the State College of New Jersey and being from New Jersey, it's funny. It's funny to root for Rutgers when they're good, but then when they're terrible, nobody talks about them.
Speaking about that game, why did it was started so late?
West Coast.
And plus they had to start after the World Series traffic.
But also that whole entire game, it was the second half after the World Series ended at 11 o'clock.
Well, the game started during the
10:30.
World Series.
I know, but that just felt like really late, even on the West Coast too.
8:30 start for a primetime Big Ten matchup.
didn't feel like anyone was
I don't
even
know
in
if
the
USC
stands either.
Rutgers is necessarily prime time.
Well, it was a primetime slot.
Yeah,
And
but
it was first matchup between the two. So I mean, I would say that's pretty
big.
prime time between the two. But then we're gonna end the show with some baseball talk. I know we're all super excited for that. We've got a couple interviews. We got Mike Fitzgerald and potentially an even bigger one. We're not sure yet. We're hopeful. Hopeful it happens.
Tell them who it is first, or do you think we let it happen?
Maybe we'll a little sooner on once we get a little more confirmation. But for now, that's going to be doing it for us for this little introduction. But we're going to get right into it with some Knicks talk right after this quick break. You're listening to One on One on WFUV Sports YouTube and 90.7.
What's up, everyone? I'm Lou Orlando.
And I'm Evan Harkin. We're your broadcasters for the 2024 Fordham football season.
The Rams chase a Patriot League title led by league-leading quarterback C.J. Montez and a host of talent, including James Conway, Niall Perkins, and Garrett Cody.
You can catch all of the games this season right here on 90.7 FM and the WFUV Sports YouTube page.
WFUV Sports, your home for Fordham football.
Welcome back into One on One, New York's longest sports call-in show. And now it's time for one of my favorite segments of the show. The reason, I look like a clown, my hair is red. Reason Tucker has a Knicks hat on right now.
Where'd he get that? I didn't.
You don't got to worry about all that.
I didn't see him grab that.
It's like Thor's hammer. He just
like
stuck his arm out in a
It's
new
like the
hat.
Bobby Schmurda hat that never
Yeah.
came down. He finally caught it.
A new hat just spawned in. But it's time for some Knicks talk. And last night, after an abysmal game on Tuesday where they got absolutely smoked by the Celtics hit tying the NBA record for 29 threes. Knicks come out last night, and they smoked the Pacers. Just overall, a better game from them. Just want to get into it. What was your overall thoughts on the game, just like from what you saw from game 1 to game 2?
Well, the Knicks' opponent didn't shoot the lights out from 3. I think that's the big difference between the Celtics and the Pacers game. The
They shot 10% from 3.
Yeah, exactly. The Celtics were on another planet shooting from beyond the arc, and I know they couldn't make one to break the record in the fourth quarter for 8 minutes, but they still came out of the gates and pretty much just drilled a 3 every time the Knicks got a hard 2 inside.
Highlighting the Knicks defense a little bit more last night with the 3 for 30 from 3. At least they made sure that they weren't going to get any threes off last night and make sure that the Pacers could not come back.
Yeah, after that Celtics game, that had to be the game plan.
Well, I don't know what Tibbs told them in the locker. I would not want to be in that locker room.
No threes allowed.
Boston Garden after they lost that game.
Yeah, that locker room after that game. I don't know, though. I still, after watching last night's game, I'm more convinced that it was just a Celtics heater.
Which they do so consistently against the Knicks. It's like torture to watch
do.
Knicks versus
They
Celtics
do like
games
to do that.
because the Knicks just get burned by the Celtics every single time they play
the
them with
time.
the 3-point shooting. It's insane.
They also happen to be, by far, I think, the best team in the NBA.
Yeah,
I wanna
after the
see,
first quarter, I said there's no reason the Celtics shouldn't win the finals.
The gap between them, even in the Western Conference, I think the gap between them and everyone else is just, it's insane.
And they don't
It's
even
all
have
about health.
Kristaps Porzingis back yet.
It's all about the health for the Celtics, and I agree with you about the Kristaps Porzingis, is that when you look at the Celtics is that Porzingis is out, and they still destroy you without Porzingis. And you also have more length. You had more length on them as well, and Karl-Anthony Towns couldn't do anything, it felt like, against them.
They were missing Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa, which I will continue to mention that until they come back.
The loss of Precious Achiuwa is so much bigger than people make it seem.
I know,
It
it totally is, because he's a huge bench contributor, and he's a big hustle guy too. And he can get some rebounds.
That's
when
something
he really
I want to bring up about the Knicks.
It's
Is
his,
just
his rebounding is what's missed.
is the Knicks bench. Is that I don't feel like they have it.
Well,
I
again,
feel like their bench
missing
is
Mitchell
so,
and missing Precious.
Yes,
Precious
but
is going to come
how
off the
good
bench.
will Mitchell Robinson be when he comes back?
Very.
As well as comes back and stays healthy.
Well,
Well,
yeah, that'll be the question. But
That's
when
my
he, when
issue
he,
with
when
Mitchell
he's,
Robinson.
when he's healthy, we saw him last year when he was healthy at the start of the season.
Best
He was
rebounding
leading the
center.
league in
Did it
rebounds.
last?
No, obviously he got hurt.
Exactly.
But we're speaking in hypotheticals here. Ideally, he comes back next year. I think he's due to come back January or February.
I mean, ideally, he's only going to have to play half the season. He usually gets hurt in the first half. So
Yeah.
now we're just hey, it's just
Now we just have to
finish
hope
the year with us.
to hope Joel Embiid doesn't try to kill him on national television.
my-
in
you
the
won't be
playoffs.
playing any regular season
Oh, that's
games, so
true.
we don't have
Yeah,
to worry
He's
about
only-
that.
And if there's a
only playing
back-to-back
half
in the
of those.
playoffs, he won't
Yeah.
play either.
This Knicks bench
That's
still
ridiculous.
really scares me. And I still think that when you're playing better teams, you're playing better Western Conference teams like the OKC Thunder. If you're going to play the Thunder, I think the Thunder have a better roster from their one to their end of their bench than the Knicks do that can run for the 45 minutes. You can't run these guys forever.
I mean, the Thunder roster, though, is also, you could say that's one of the best in the NBA.
Yes, but you're the Knicks that are trying to go and win a championship. You should have one of the best rosters in the NBA, and that's why you should have a better bench.
Well, they had a much deeper bench last season, obviously, because they had all they had more
You decided to
role-playing
make
guys.
a deal with the devil and get Karl-Anthony Towns.
Exactly. So they sacrificed the bench for Karl-Anthony Towns and for a starting five that is really, really gross. There
But
were
then-
some holes here and there last season, but this year's starting five.
What happens
is,
if someone? I'm not saying, but what happens if someone goes down in the starting five?
Who
Slots in? Tyler Kolek?
It's the risk
The
they're
GOAT.
essentially.
Well, all right, well, let's not disrespect Tyler Kolek.
it's
Hooper.
it's the risk they're
Hooper.
implicitly
Star.
taking, though.
Future
He's,
star.
He is
a
nice.
He's a rookie, and you want to trust
Star.
him in the
No, but
beginning game.
I think what
games
you're
of the playoffs.
saying about the bench right now is true, but when Mitchell Robinson comes back, Josh Hart moves most likely to the bench. So I think that creates – then your bench unit is Deuce, Josh Hart, Campaign if he still plays, and then you have Precious Achiuwa, and you still have Landry Shamet, who they did not
Is Landry Shamet still there?
he
he
dislocated his shoulder.
He got cut
No, he
because he got,
dislocated, but he's gonna come back.
Well-
They redrafted him in the G League draft, so
Oh,
they can monitor his
Wonderful.
rehab. So when he's not,
all right.
whenever he gets
Nets legend Landry Shamet.
whenever he gets healthy,
Yeah,
he
that
will
one,
be
that
back
one's
on the team.
that one's moving the table in the East.
But if
I'm
Mitchell
sorry,
Robinson's
it's not
healthy,
moving
though,
anything.
Josh Hart on the bench with Deuce McBride's a big difference.
I really
than
like
that.
the lineup of Mitchell Robinson and Cat because it kind of reminds me of Rudy and Cat on the court.
I think
I
Mitchell
think
Robinson's
I
better
think
than
it's
Rudy.
I think it's a little different. Oh, that's a crazy statement.
Is it,
Rudy
though?
has how many Defensive Player of the Years?
Mitchell Robinson, if he stayed healthy, would have multiple.
If is the key word there. But if
You don't need him. I mean,
but that pick and
awards
roll
don't
threat,
determine who's good.
that pick and roll threat, and the rim protection that Mitchell Robinson provides, which I feel like the Knicks have none. The rim protection feels hopeless for the Knicks.
I
When they
agree with you
played
right now.
against the Celtics, it felt like they had whatever they want because Cat wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, true. Cat really didn't do it, and that this was part of the reason why I was so down on the Karl-Anthony Towns trade originally was because I like Randall's defense better than Karl-Anthony Towns. But
Randall had to go.
They kind
What
of did
you're- what-
sacrifice rim protection for perimeter defense, I think.
yeah, that's
they're
100%
way more
what they did.
switchable with Cat.
They wanted more offense at the sacrifice of interior defense.
Yeah.
But once Mitchell Robinson comes back, that interior defense probably comes back at least partially.
Same with Achiuwa, because he's shown that he can be at least a threat. He's had a couple multi-block games. They really are missing Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa's rebounding.
And to that extent, I don't think it's fair to put all of the defensive responsibility on Karl-Anthony Towns while we're waiting for Mitchell Robinson to come back.
But
It
you
would
have
be
to win
nice.
games. You can't go
they're
all the
gonna-
way
they'll
down.
win games.
Would it be
They'll-
nice
they can
if
beat any
Mitchell
team with the
Robinson, or would
Celtics.
it be nice if Karl-Anthony Towns picked up the Knicks and played some solid defense to fill the hole before Mitchell
He
Robinson got
needs
back?
to play solid defense.
It would be
That's
nice.
Why he was. That's why he was traded to the Knicks. They
No,
wanted
they
the
want-
solid.
he was
no,
traded out of
I'm
need.
sorry.
We didn't
I'm
have there
sorry.
was no
they
center
needed-
on the
If
roster.
they wanted
needed him,
defense, they would have
they
kept Julius
needed him.
Randle.
They have one of the better stretch fives in the maybe the best one of the best
Cat
three-pointing
is probably
three.
the best stretch five.
Yeah,
in the
best
NBA.
stretch
3-point
five
contest
and the
champion
best
Karl
three-
Anthony
yeah,
Towns.
the best best 3-point shooting center in the league.
Yeah.
But he can't play defense, and that's one of the main things that a center has to do. You've
But
been
that's
missing
fine.
that. You've been
That's
missing
fine.
that since Kristaps Porzingis was on the roster.
It's totally fine
well, a
as
stretch five
long
that can
as
protect the rim.
Yeah.
as long as Mitchell
That's what
Robinson, like once Mitchell Robinson comes back, this is not a fully realized Knicks team. It's the same thing that
Mitchell
happened last
Robinson
season.
doesn't last.
That's
He
not what
will
you
though.
could-
He will.
But
And
he
you,
doesn't
like,
have to. He's playing a quarter of the games he'll usually play. Like this is different than saying he won't he usually
I
lasts
think-
like 40 games.
I think
It's just
personally,
awful
and I've
play.
been saying this, Mitchell Robinson should be traded for bench depth. I think that's not that
No,
crazy.
I
You can get better
disagree.
defenders for Mitchell Robinson, and maybe his value might not be
I
that
think
high.
He's no
But
trade
you might
value.
be. I said that his value might not be very high, but you might be able to get at least 2 players back for him.
he is only 26 years old.
Yeah, I don't,
That's like the only thing going towards trade value for him is just like how much is left in his
I
career.
don't
And
think
when
it's. I don't
healthy,
think
he's the
I'm.
best
I don't think
rebounder in
I'm
the league.
crazy for that. That the Knicks, if they trade him, they get pieces back that help a more cohesive team that you can trust for 40 minutes and give your stars a little break instead of having them run forever and then gas out at the
I
end.
mean, you say run forever. If you look at last night's game, Cat 32, Brunson 29, Bridges 33,
you
and
blew out
Josh
the
Hart played
Pacers in the
36.
third quarter.
We're gonna blow out every team in the third.
You're going to blow out
quarter.
every team in the third quarter.
It's entirely
Every
possible.
single
And
And
team.
if you look
if
at
the
though,
offense
like,
fires like
you
it
think,
did against
you think
the Pacers,
Bucks?
and
You think the Bucks are going to
perimeter
let
defense is
you?
good?
The Bucks are going to let you run them out the gym.
but even though this is even without the blowout, Tibbs did not pull the starters until there was 3 minutes left in the game. So you're looking at maybe Josh Hart plays close to 40. Everyone else is around 35.
But Josh Hart is good for 40, so it
Like,
doesn't. Like, that
35
doesn't
minutes
matter.
is
I
not
don't
ridiculous in
love
an
running
NBA
everyone
game.
to their bones
But it's
before the playoffs
35 minutes is not
it's
running
not like
people to
they
the bones.
don't
That's not even
know
close to top
when
10.
they
in-
also just start. You saw it last year.
that was
I'm not
because
going
everyone
crazy.
got hurt.
It can, but I'm not crazy that those minutes make people get hurt.
But the
If
minutes,
you're running
the
them in
minutes
the regular
were ran
season,
Is
out
it
of
is it
necessity to win.
possible? Yes, it is possible that the minutes are creating like just injury prone situations, I guess, because of just usage. It comes with playing more that you're putting your body on the
Exactly.
line
But the
more.
injuries.
But it's
are-
it's not like they aren't prepared for that. You know, like it's not like Tibbs is playing them for 40
I
minutes and
know
they
they're
expected to play
prepared.
25 or 30.
I know they're
They
prepared
practice to play like this.
for it. I also like that Tibbs was saying that he does lighter practices now because he knows how hard they're going to be running in games. But I just think I'm not for the load management, any of that. But I just think that sometimes when you have games where you're up pretty a lot, you can sit your starters for a little bit. You don't have to. 35 might not be that crazy, but later in the season, if they're playing better opponents and they have to run a lot and they're playing a lot of minutes, it's only a bad recipe for the Knicks.
I think if they're playing faster teams, it'll probably be an issue.
I don't think Kurt is absolutely wrong on this point. You know, I like to disagree with Kurt sometimes, but here I'm not even trying
You
to be
saw
like
it last year. I'm not crazy.
you're not crazy because if you think about this Knicks team, especially the bench, who are the guys that will replace a Brunson, a Hart, a OG? Like who are the guys to replace these players if an injury does occur?
I think
it's like a cross that bridge when you come to it type situation. Like the way this Knicks team is built, they don't really. I guess they don't really expect their players to go down.
But
which
when
is
you're
like
it's a little different too, though, because if you just say
it's
about any
risk and
team,
reward.
No,
like,
I don't
you can say what are the
disagree with
Celtics going to do if
You're-
Tatum goes
when
down?
I
or,
used
like,
to
what
watch-
are
Yeah,
the Thunder
exactly.
going to do if Shea goes down?
When
It's
I
like,
watched,
you don't
when
put-
I watched
We have
the
backup
Nets,
depth.
Yeah, but if you lost Shea, like you would say, like
Who is going to legitimately
It's a-
fill in for Jason Tatum on the Celtics if he goes down?
you still have a starting
Like,
five. You
like,
still have a
actually
reliable
fill in.
starting
Can't you say
five
the
that you
same
can play
about
the
the
game
Knicks?
for.
Yeah, you have a reliable.
You don't
starting
have
five,
a
but
reliable
you don't
starting
have
five for the Knicks.
But you don't have a replacement. You can have a remotely reliable starting five for the Knicks. Like say you take out like what are we saying like Jalen Brunson. If you take out Jalen Brunson, I don't hate running. Like I get what
Deuce
would
in the
it be
starting
Deuce?
lineup and move Cole to
I-
the bench.
yeah,
or onto the bench.
Yeah,
That-
I don't hate running Deuce McBride for like a month if Jalen Brunson were to miss a month. But
Yeah.
again, this is where we're talking about Jalen Brunson, who hasn't missed any time as a Knick.
Knock on wood.
Okay, but that's all valid points. But when you think about it's only game 2 of the season, yes, 2 games have been blowouts, so you're kind of like lucky that the Knicks stars have not gotten to the 40-minute mark.
The Celtics game shouldn't have even been a blowout. Like if the Celtics didn't
I mean, they had a
shoot,
historic-
like, if they didn't shoot like gods from the 3-point line,
that's
it would have been a
different-
closer game.
That game is a different story. We
It-
can't
it
even.
is.
There's nothing to discuss.
Yeah, that game, I don't even know if you can pull anything from it because that shooting was.
No,
I
you
still think
the home opener
the
is
rim
much
protection
more.
Yeah.
is something that you can pull from.
Look
it.
at the
They shoulda
Pacers
pulled
game
down
last
some
Yeah,
night.
some
we are going to
rebounds.
see
Sure.
way more games that look like Knicks Pacers than look like Knicks Celtics. That's not hard to say.
Yeah.
At
Okay,
all.
okay, but final point before I hop off.
Mhm.
Is it reliable to say that playing 35 to 40 minutes within the first week of the NBA season does not scare you a little bit to think more down the road? Because you realize that last year you had an injury-filled team heading into the playoffs. You go into Game 7 against the Pacers with practically no one to play besides Brunson, and he gets injured in the game, right? So now you don't want to replicate the same outcome going into this year and again closer and closer to playoff time. So shouldn't it be on Tibbs to start the starters slow, start from like the 30 to 35 mark on a consistent basis, and then we can ramp up and get to the point where they're playing the 40 minutes like you're used to.
I do like it. Like I don't necessarily disagree with the fact that playing your players more will put them at higher risk for injury. But like I'll go back to that postseason in particular. The playing time that Mitchell Robinson was getting did not affect the fact that Joel Embiid literally injured him in front of everyone. Like if Mitchell Robinson had like a non-contact injury because he was playing 35 to 40 minutes every night in the postseason, then I would give more credibility to that claim. But like the Knicks against the Pacers were banged up because of like injuries occurring because of the postseason, not because of because of hard play in the postseason. It wasn't because of overuse.
I just think bench depth is something that you need. Like, for example, I can give you a little anecdote about when the Nets were playing the Bucks in that Game 7. The Nets had Bruce Brown running the 5 in that game. He was running center. That was how injured they were. You need to have bench depth, and you can't be running people for the entirety of your season because that was an injured Nets team as well.
My
And
thing
you
is, I
had
think it will
Jeff,
balance out.
you had Jeff Green and Kevin Durant and Bruce Brown carrying your team that day. And not even Bruce Brown. You had Jeff Green carrying your team that game. Jeff Green didn't miss a shot. So if you're the Knicks, you don't want someone else carrying your team. You want your starting 5 that you traded for and gave up a lot. You gave up 5 picks from Mikal Bridges. You gave up more for Karl Anthony Towns. You gave up your future for Karl Anthony Towns.
No, I'd say the
Sorry,
future.
not
No,
futures. You gave up your fan favorite, and you gave up a guy who built your franchise to this heights.
I'd say flip those. It was the future for Mikal Bridges,
That's what I meant.
and it was
that's what I meant to
Karl
say.
Anthony Towns was the other way.
I think ultimately the difference you see between last year and this year's team is, to Kurt's point, is the bench. Because
for sure.
last year, even with the injuries, you knew you had practically a starting 5 coming off your bench, and they helped you win games to reach to Game 7 before losing. But now if you look into this season, you are riding high on your starters. You really don't have anyone from the bench that can really replace anyone. And in the case where something happens like last year in Game 7 where you need to practically replace the entire roster, you don't have a bench who look anywhere near like starting 5 quality. So it's going to be questionable to even make it far in the East, let alone in the playoffs.
And that's why I say trade Mitchell Robinson and get some bench depth.
I just think when
just
you
need to be
look
healthy.
at minutes, you say like you'll look throughout the season, like maybe they're playing a lot of minutes now, but you'll get to games where you're playing the Pistons and the game you'll be up 40 at halftime, and like the minutes will even themselves
But
out.
how do you know that's going to happen?
Because it's always what happens in the NBA. Also, big shout out to Angel Ducret, that's who just joined us behind the board. He'll be joining throughout the show, so thanks for joining us. But before we end this Knicks segment, I want to come at you, Kurt. You hit my tweet with 5 first-round picks from Mikal Bridges. You just said we mortgaged the future away from Mikal Bridges. So let's talk about his game last night.
Okay.
You hated
hear
on
it.
the shooting form.
Okay. Yeah, I did.
He
You can
had-
easily hate on the game against the Celtics.
I can definitely hate
on
on
the
the shooting
very
form.
Easy
He
to
didn't
hate on
shoot.
Mikal
he,
Bridges.
he played very well at the second half of that Celtics game, and last night he shot 8 of 12.
Yeah, he played good against the
2 of
Celtics
3
because
from
he
3.
changed his.
He did
shooting
not change
form.
his shooting form. It did not get changed. It's the same shooting form. He shot 21 points last night on 8 of 12 shooting. He was a plus 13, and I believe he's made 15 of his last 18 shots. So he's playing good defense. Tyrese Halliburton did not score last night.
Yeah, that's probably
That's
a big
big.
part of
So,
the Knicks win is
um,
Halliburton just basically not getting
He
off
was
the bus.
left
So
at
let's
the
hear
airport.
it. Let's hear it,
Yeah.
Kurt. How do you feel now about the trade before we get into some Nets talk? Because
I
the
still
Nets
like
lost that trade.
I still like the trade.
Yeah,
I
like
still
how can you
how
not?
can I not
As
like
a
the
net,
trade?
it really
I mean,
how
how
Nets
can you
just
not like
got
the trade?
5 first-round
But
picks.
can you
for
admit?
the- what do you?
Can you admit that you were wrong about Mikal Bridges stinking?
It's the second game.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but
Last
it was
night-
the first
Last
game.
night he was the night
You're
before
in my
he was
mentions
0 and
talking
4.
about.
You
Yeah.
were in my mentions yesterday talking about the Yankees,
You're in my
buddy.
mentions telling
What
me
happened?
we got 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. Yeah, Mikal Bridges just dropped 21
On the Pacers when Tyrese Halliburton didn't shoot a shot. Like, he
Yeah,
shot, but he
y-
was
y-
0
No,
Hey,
he
and
definitely
guess
shot
who was-
0 for 8.
Guess who's guarding him? He's not here to score.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
He's here to play defense, buddy.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, that
defense.
I feel like that gets forgotten a lot. Is
His
the
defense
Mikal
is
Bridges
so-
defense side,
His defense is really good.
and like we
I
were
remember
talking about the
watching
perimeter,
see,
the
Chris
perimeter
Carino
defense is there.
Said on Pick and Pod that Mikal Bridges' defense is overrated.
I don't
and
think
he's
it's
not that good.
I
of a
don't
defender.
think
Overrated
it's-
is crazy. I don't think people talk
it's
about it
no,
enough.
some points in the net season he was letting people blow past him last year, and it felt like it could have been like
He's a
could have been
perimeter
doing a lot
defender.
better. Well, he was on the perimeter and people were blowing past him.
Well, yeah, but like,
But still, I'm saying
Because he had more of a I think because he had more
He had more-
scoring
but
not opportunity.
he has
but,
that 3 and D. But also with the
requirement.
Knicks, I still thinks he has to score. He still has to score with the Knicks.
He's third, fourth option. Fifth. I think he only needs to score 15 points a game.
is
Yeah,
he
you
the
better hope
fourth
that he does
option?
it. Also, when
Yeah,
better
but he
defenders
was
are
trying
on
to.
him,
He was
who
trying
was
to
on
score.
him last night? On the Pacers. Just asking.
They switch everything. The Pacers. I mean,
So when better defenders are on Mikal Bridges, do you think he's going to do as well as he did last night?
but like that wouldn't be
Just
a
that,
team's,
like, what
team's
happened
best defender. Won't be
Against
on
the
him.
Celtics, what happened was they guarded him really well, and he couldn't shoot.
First game
for
of the season.
anything.
It'll be.
And
well,
also,
I think
yes, I'm
Knicks, Celtics-
very happy about that trade. I really like that they got 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges.
Enjoy missing on your picks in the 20s. Possibly 30. How many teams are there? 30? 32? 32? 30? How many in the NBA?
30.
30. Yeah, enjoy your 30th pick next year.
You know what? Tell me whatever you want. Make the finals, and we can talk about it then.
All right, and we're going to make the finals
Make
this
the finals,
year. We're
talk
going to win
about
the
it,
finals.
win the finals, beat the Celtics. Let's see it all.
It's going to happen, but we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to be talking some more ball about the bad team across town that no one really likes. You're listening to One on One,
Shut up,
New
Brooklyn.
York's longest sports call-in show on WFUV Sports YouTube and 90.7.
How's it going, everyone? Will Talent here, your New York Giants beat reporter for the 2024 season. Follow alongside me at talent_Will on X to catch all of the updates on your New York football Giants from MetLife Stadium. With rookie sensation Malik Neighbors and big free agent acquisition Brian Burns, WFUV Sports is the place for Big Blue coverage. WFUV, your home for New York sports.
Welcome back into One on One, New York's longest sports call-in show, and we have some breaking news right now. Kyle Kuzma announces that he's retiring tunnel fits. So no more.
That is such
It's
bait.
over, ladies
That
and
is such
gentlemen.
bait.
atrocious
Kyle Kuzma is
fits
retiring.
after
Fits.
all the bad outfits that Kyle Kuzma has showed up in.
He's now just wearing jumpsuits to the games.
Thank you to everyone. I guess that is what playing for the Wizards will do to you. But speaking of another team that is just as bad, if not worse, than the Wizards, hopefully worse for some Nets fans. It's time to talk some Nets ball.
Hey, Cam Thomas is nice.
And
You
they
get to
got
watch him
they
every
got
night.
Cam Thomas, certified hooper, but that's all they got. And it's Operation Capture the Flag season for the Nets. 0-2 start for some Nets fans, not Kurt. You couldn't have asked for a better start. Let's go 0-82 and get some good players in this franchise.
Jay-Z would say,
No, come on.
I would look at you and say that's gravy.
Got to
Yeah,
win a
well.
couple games. Dude, if the Nets wind up the worst team in the NBA
No,
this year,
that's
I'd be
ridiculous.
Really
They won't
sad.
be worse.
They can't be,
They
right?
won't be worse than the Wizards.
No, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's
No,
fair.
No one
hold
could
on.
be worse.
Can I
than
just
the-
can I just
Wizards are
please
bad.
defend this for a second? I think it's ridiculous to want to tank. I think tanking is,
Wrong.
like Tucker said, lame.
Yeah,
And
it
I
is
think
lame.
it's not fun at all. Like, what's the point of me ever going to a game?
What's
then?
the
You
point?
don't have to tank,
All
and
right,
you can still be the
what's
worst
point
team in
of
the
being
NBA.
good?
Yeah.
Like,
What's the point of not?
What's the point of making the play-in if you're
Your
Nets?
your fans actually have an appreciative season.
If I was
Yeah.
a fan,
you don't miss
if
the
I-
you don't miss the playoffs.
like show a little effort out there.
You
Yeah,
have
but, like, there's
effort
no
is the biggest key for me. Like, what's my point of watching a game if they're not even going to come out and be like,
There
yeah,
isn't
we're
one.
losing this game?
The point of watching the games is rooting for Cooper Flag
No,
to
that's
be on your
ridiculous.
team next
That's
year.
ridiculous.
That is not
to that
ridiculous.
extent, Kurt, the Nets actually have been they've been competing. These
They
aren't
have
these aren't
been.
lay down and die losses. They're
No.
scoring like 100 points.
Wha-
They've scored at least 100 points in
One.
both their games.
Two, the only reason they lost against the Hawks was because you had a crazy game from
Ooh.
Okongwu.
God awful bench performance from the Nets. Like nobody else showed up except
It's not-
Cam
I'm
Thomas, who
not-
dropped 36.
Yes, but you had a great game from Okongwu, and also Trae Young had 30.
Yeah.
So
Trae Young having 30 is not.
no, but
That's
it
sh-
took
that's, like,
that.
kind
It
of a
took
given.
Trae Young 30 and Okongwu to have 28 points and be 11 from 12 from the field for
That's
the Nets to
that's
lose that
kind of
game.
crazy.
But my point.
That's
my
what it
point
took for them
you,
to lose that game last night. No, 2 nights ago, opening day. Just
Mhm.
letting you know that.
My point.
They're not
for
that
you
bad.
Is maybe they aren't that bad, but when I look at this roster, none of these guys will be here when you want to become a contender. So why root for them to get
Cam Thomas will be.
meaningless
Yeah, for
wins
sure.
now
Well,
when
yeah,
there's
hopefully.
guys that you
Hopefully.
need like Cooper
Also,
Flag
Claxton will be here.
can change your team. Like none of these guys are you never win a championship with these guys. Isn't the whole point to win a championship?
It's to win a championship, but I also like the idea that like when you play a professional sport, that you're trying to win the game. It's like,
Yeah, like it's still
this is not trust the
Me
process.
and you have very, very opposite mindsets.
This is
when it
not
comes to
trust
rooting
the.
for
This is
bad
not trust the
teams.
process. I don't want to see my team go 1-81. I'm sorry, I just
would
don't.
love that if I was the Nets.
I think that's ridiculous. And also, you're not like the guaranteed in the draft lottery. Like, yes, you have all the chances, but you're not also guaranteed.
New York
the
market,
first
you're
pick.
guaranteed that first pick.
Oh yeah, the frozen letter you get out. when
Actually,
you
that's
get
not
that
even
first
true. We're the
pick.
worst team. We didn't get Zion. So
Thank you. My
your
exact
point's right.
point. So what's the point in trying to be the worst team when you're not even guaranteed the first pick? When your fans could have a little fun, maybe you upset a team in the play-in, like you guys were talking about on Pick and Pod. You upset a team in the play-in,
see, I don't.
and
think
maybe
that's
you go to the
possible.
playoffs. It's possible.
And then what? You get smoked in the first round.
Sure,
I
but
think
you
if-
made it to the playoffs. The Knicks didn't do that for 10 years.
And I was very much enjoying my time rooting for a draft pick every year.
And it never
That's not true.
happened.
I mean, we got R.J. Barrett. Who
Oh, where is he?
He netted us OG Anunoby.
He's currently in
and look
Canada.
where we are right now.
You had
Shout out R.J.
actually he's having a great time up there in Toronto.
He is.
He is. He's back
He's
home.
balling out
Mhm.
my boy Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
Miss him.
And
Bruce Brown.
Man,
Quick
I have
as well.
2 Bruce Brown jerseys.
One's got a name spell wrong though, right?
Yeah, it has bridges on. It's a tape bridges over the back. I need to take that off now.
Yeah, I mean, who's the tape going to now? But looking at this, I mean, I guess your point is right, but with how stacked this draft class is next year, I don't think you can miss out on a top 5 pick.
But that
But
like
you're not guaranteed a top 5 pick. Like,
If you're at bottom,
sorry, if you're that
like
bad,
the-
you
even
are
that
if
being
you're
said,
that bad,
if
you're
it's
guaranteed
so
top 5.
loaded, then you don't even need to be 1 or 2.
It's like loaded
Also,
top
the
5.
Nets-
though.
you can
Like,
be
you
like
need,
the
you need to be top 5.
hold on.
Well, yeah, you need
the
to be
Nets
top
have
5,
had
but
great drafting under Sean Marks. That's true. They've had really good drafting. They drafted Cam Thomas hot, like low.
28th pick, I think.
They drafted Nick Claxton. Also, for going back,
Second rounder.
no, Nick Claxton was in like the late first round. I'm pretty sure. You drafted, even going back to the Cavs guys now, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, who's pretty good. I'm just saying the Nets have had good draft picks.
But when you give him a
Daron Sharp,
there's a lot of
who's not been bad.
can't miss prospects in this draft class.
But I also have the trust that the Nets are able to have I have the trust in Sean Marks that he has the vision that he'll pick up some heaters. Like you pick up Cam Thomas, who no one thought, and who's no one thought like anything of, and he's really good.
I see the thing with Cam Thomas is like, I don't know if I ever go as far as saying he's like I don't know like what his role is on like a non bad team. Like, he's a scorer, he's a hooper, but like that's really all he's good at. Like, he's a pure scorer, but he needs the ball in his hands. He's not a good defender. It's like in your opinion, like what would his role be on like a contending team? Like I feel like he's a guy that's similar to how Jordan Poole is looked at. It's in a way empty stat. Like a guy that needs
He's
the
not
ball.
empty stats. That's
I mean, I don't think it's empty
ridiculous.
stat.
That's
I think
absolutely
he's a very
ridiculous.
good scorer, but I don't know what else he offers for a team.
Anyone going 14 for 27 from the field and 7 for 13 from 3, that was against the Hawks,
Good scorer.
is crazy. 1.
Can he play defense?
2, he's getting better on defense, definitely. The Nets last night, I will say, lost that game in turnovers. They had 16 turnovers committed. That doesn't happen too often. That's like the Celtics
They're
have.
a bad team.
I don't think they're going to have 16 turnovers almost every game they play. That's ridiculous.
I think Ben Simmons needs to not be on this team anymore.
Where's he gonna go?
That's not a good
China.
That's a bad take.
Like I
I also like Ben
I've been done with Ben
I'm
Simmons.
also not going to lie that Ben Simmons, I want to see him have a season.
Ben
I
Simmons
wanna
can net you
This was
something at the
supposed to be.
trade deadline.
What was this supposed to be
One?
like the vengeance season? Like I thought he
It's
came
been a
in and was like,
vengeance
I'm
season
going to be
forever.
different this season,
But
bro. Yeah,
also,
6
like-
points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds against the Hawks, bro.
It's not that bad.
Well, yeah, like for a role player, this is Ben Simmons.
now,
Ben
that's just-
Simmons
that's-
is a
he's
role
a role
player,
player
though.
right now.
He hasn't played
But this
really in
but this
4
is
years.
Ben Simmons.
We have to
Like
wait-
this is the guy that
we
the
see-
Nets got from the Sixers because they thought that he was a number 2
One
guy in
thing-
the franchise.
I
Now
don't
he's
know
like
if
a
they
fringe
traded
They
No,
traded
that's
him
not
because they
true.
had to for James Harden.
Well,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
but how you would expect more out of Ben Simmons
You-
because of
he
what
had
he
a-
used to be.
He had a back injury.
The Philly fans
that people
ruined his
really
entire
didn't-
mentality. They ruined his mental health,
He had a
and now
back
he can't
injury
play
that people
basketball
really
anymore.
didn't give him credit that actually was really bad.
Yeah, that was
His back
I mean,
injury.
but that kept him out for how long? Like 2
3
years?
years.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years.
So
and like he kept trying to
needs
come
a
back and
little
just
bit-
not making it back.
But
Needs
that's
some
my
time.
point. He needs some time to get his legs underneath him. What do you know?
How
Maybe
much
he'll
more
have-
time? How much more
He
time?
didn't have time last year. He came in and got injured again. He had to get shots in his back. So what's the difference? I mean, you have to give him a little time. You have to give him a little effort,
I
especially
get.
if
You know what?
Owen
the Nets,
thinks this is a tanking team. Why
actually-
not Ben Simmons have a breakout season?
You know,
Maybe.
I actually-
then the
my
Nets,
opinion on
you know what?
that.
The Nets are probably the perfect place for Ben Simmons to be because this is going to be like a pedestrian season.
There's
Like,
no expectations.
I don't want them to I agree with you that I don't want them to tank because tanking is lame, but the reality of this season is that the Nets are probably not
This-
doing anything.
Ben
if there's a
Simmons,
place
though,
for Ben
can
Simmons
net
to get
you-
time, it's probably the Nets.
If Ben Simmons plays well, I mean, he's only playing last night. He played 23 minutes, 7 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Like this, you can tell he's still got all aspects of his game are still there, just kind of in a lesser form. He hasn't played really in 3 years, and you got to look at it as this is a guy that can net you something at the trade deadline. Say he starts averaging like I don't know 10, 8, and like 5, like.
If he gets to double-digit points on average, then I will
You
stop.
could
I will
get a
stop
fir-
hating
You
him.
can get a first-round
think he
pick for
can.
him.
I will stop
think he
hating on
can.
him so much if he can get to double digits.
Ben
I
Simmons
fully
leading a bench
believe-
unit
I
on
would-
a contender.
I fully believe that he can, 1, do it. 2, he's still a great point guard, and he still passes the ball really well.
Like to be honest,
just can't believe how
I
good he
legitimately
was.
do not trust that
don't
he will
think
be
it's
able to
over
get his
yet.
average up to double digits.
I don't want to be. I
He
don't want to
doesn't
be
score
a
anymore.
crazed. I don't want to be a crazed fan and be like, he's coming back and he's going to be prime Ben Simmons. I don't think that. I think that
There is no
personally-
prime Ben Simmons. He's gone.
I think that personally. Why are you looking at me like that when you say that? It's like
I
there's
just
the
can't believe,
depth
like,
in your
Ben
eyes with
Simmons
that.
is gone. The Ben
He's
Simmons
not.
that we knew from
He's
Philly when he was playing with Joel Embiid and was
I don't
like a
think he is.
headliner.
I
They
think
would
that-
say Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and the Philadelphia
I think
76ers.
that Ben
Simmons is gone.
I think
long
that
gone.
I think Ben Simmons might be able to come back. I'm not going to say to original form, but I think that he might be able to give you at least a triple double from here and there, and I think that's what he needs.
I agree with
He's
that.
how many triple doubles does he have?
If
in the
Ben
league?
Simmons gets
1
a
second.
triple double in this year,
He had a triple double last
You'll
year.
bleach
he had
your hair.
3.
oh, I was like this
Well, look,
close.
wait,
I was this
wait,
close.
could you take
Someone
off-
I've
record
never,
it, clip it, make
I've
him
never,
say it.
I've never dyed my hair before, and I kind of
Angel's
want
got
to
it.
keep. I want to keep my hair healthy. I didn't finish the sentence. You have
Wait,
nothing.
Could you take off your hat really quick?
Yeah,
just
my
for a
hair is
second?
already orange mostly.
We didn't
so
talk about that.
here.
An orange off right here.
We didn't talk about that. This is ridiculous.
Mine's more blonde than yeah. We didn't talk about
Yeah,
that.
mine's
didn't
more
talk
mine's
about
more of an
this.
auburn. I like to say.
They're not playing football today.
Well, yeah, they are. I
Are they?
think. Yeah,
another
Auburn is
another
playing today.
team that Tucker probably roots for in college
Oh my
college football.
College football, college basketball.
It's all the same, but I think talking about Ben Simmons right now just like makes me think about like crazy like what he was like.
That's
This-
what I'm
at one
saying.
point, this
He
guy
was
was,
so
like,
good.
I don't think he'll ever
I
be
don't-
as
He's a
good
bum
as he ever
now.
was. was, but I think he can be a contributor on a contending team.
He can be.
And Nets could get a first-round pick for
And
him.
I think that the Nets also might be able to just see.
At the trade deadline, yes.
I don't think that's
Okay,
that's
if he's
crazy.
averaging double-digit points and
Also,
like
but
close
his
to 10
passing
assists at the
ability is so
deadline,
crazy.
yeah. So
Off the
like
bench,
if he's close to 10 and 10 at the deadline,
I think
you
can
could
get that.
maybe get like a conditional first rounder. But if I'm a GM in the NBA, I am not coughing up a first round pick for Ben Simmons.
The more
In
points-
2024,
the more
I
points,
am not coughing
the
up a
more
first
New
round
York
time
pick.
that he
Knicks.
has,
Get
the Knicks
Ben
probably won't do
Simmons.
that. Also, the more time that he has under him, I feel like
He'll
will
look
help him
better.
out. Yes. I'm just going to say that. I just need to see more games with Ben Simmons.
That's why the Nets are the perfect place for him because he'll get the time on the
That's what I
Nets. They
said.
don't have anybody else to
Exactly.
play.
What if he gets sent back to Philly?
Be funny. It's like Kevin Durant going
Oh
back
my
to
God.
OKC.
The Philly fans are worse than me.
No,
like
I
I am a
Kevin
Ben
Dur- you think
Simmons
Kevin Durant
hater,
would be
but
accepted
Philly
back
fans
in
are
OKC?
worse.
Yeah. I mean, we have an OKC fan behind the glass if he wants to talk.
Oh yeah,
if he
hop
wants to
on
talk
this.
about that.
Would you accept Kevin? Like, if Kevin Durant came back to the Thunder, would you be happy about it? Like, what are your overall feelings on KD? Like, how would you feel?
We-
Like,
are we
Ben
really
Simmons back
thinking
to
he would-
Sixers?
Oh, okay.
If KD came back to OKC, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah,
Like,
no, but who
similar,
would
like,
be?
comparing it
KD
to,
is
like,
not
you think
Ben
40
Simmons.
first-round picks for
Do you
Kevin
think
Durant.
like
Okay.
Ben Simmons back to Sixers would be similar?
No, I think Sixers fans would actually hate Ben Simmons.
It would be
Hell
like
But at
a
the same-
this
okay,
headline.
Hate
like-
KD?
OKC fans, like
KD
we,
is still a good player.
I don't think we'll hate KD anymore.
Like,
Like if you told me this like
You're
a
doing
couple
me
years
right
ago,
now.
100%, like we would not accept him back. But we at the stage of our like career where OKC is on the come up. KD could be that kind of like he doesn't even have to be a number one scorer. He
that
could
would be ring farming. If KD went
Nah,
to
for real,
went to
but,
the
like,
Thunder and won a ring, it would be ring
They
farming.
have the first
100%.
I would
They
take
would
it.
never have
I wouldn't personally drop
do it
like
just
more
for
than two
picks.
first-round picks
No,
for
but
KD.
he would never beat the
but-
allegations, especially after the Golden State thing. If he does it again with the Thunder, it's over.
I also want to ask Angel something real quick before we hop back into some Nets talk. Who do you think KD goes into the Hall of Fame for? That's just for all of you. Who do you think it would go into the Hall of Fame for?
Ooh.
What jersey is he wearing?
He's wearing OKC.
You think he goes in with the OKC jersey or
He might wear a
Warriors?
Seattle Sonics jersey.
It's
Does he have to pick one? Because like
I-
MLB, you
I
can
know
go in
MLB
as multiple.
MLB,
They
MLB
have
you have
the
to pick
pa-
one.
I
No,
think
but
it's
the,
Oh, yeah.
basketball. They have the
Well, you
patches.
have to pick one that your like plaque has you wearing.
yeah.
But I think your plaque will still say like all the.
But like
teams.
if he
Oh
had to
no, yeah,
pick a
for
team-
sure. They say all the teams. I'm pretty sure, but I think, I mean, it's different between like getting your jersey retired and then like picking the team you get
Golden
like,
State
in the Hall of Fame.
No.
I feel like he would.
Nah, he
take-
wouldn't get his-
I feel like Kevin Durant, the type of guy to not use OKC and put Supersonics.
That
I'm
would
gonna
be hard.
So
That would be hard.
The
I
if you
one
went in
year
as
when
Su-
he
as
was in a
Sonic,
Supersonics jersey.
I would actually love that.
Or
I,
when the
I love
especially
Supersonics
going
come
Rusted
back.
that too.
Yes, I was about to say if the Sonics come back before
Don't
he's
get
a
me
Hall of
started
if
Famer
Russ does
and
that.
he gets in
He was
because
talking about it when they played back in OKC back in the
the
day.
Thunder still have the they still have the Sonics history that
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
belongs
yeah.
to them, but they said that if the Sonics come back, they
It'll be
would they
separated,
would
right?
relinquish the history back to Seattle.
I-
So
That's
if that happens, I think you can
Then
totally.
OKC
I
Yeah,
do
no,
also
100%.
have a hot take about the Nets though. I think the Nets should be relocated.
Oh boy,
Either-
Ridiculous.
where?
This is ridiculous.
Either
Not even gonna
back to
listen
Jersey.
this.
Back to Jersey,
back
baby.
to Jersey,
It's
or
ridiculous.
send them to Vegas.
Oh,
This is
ew.
actually the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. They
Send them
they
anywhere
built
but
a
Brooklyn.
brand new stadium in Brooklyn.
Yeah, you know
where
whose stadium that
fans
is
go.
now? That's the Liberty Stadium.
Oh,
Not-
boy.
It's not wrong.
It's not where the Nets play. It's where the
the-
Liberty
it's-
play.
It's where both play. I will
No,
say
it's
that.
where the Liberty play. It's just
the
like how
Nets,
it's Giant
the Nets
Stadium.
aren't going absolutely anywhere. That's it.
Send them back to
that's
Vegas. Send them to
ridiculous.
Vegas.
That's the most ridiculous statement I've
You
ever
think
heard.
the Nets being relocated is ridiculous? The Sixers
is.
almost moved their
Well,
arena
let's
to New
see.
Jersey.
Let's see what
that's
happens.
a little different going back to like
they
going
still
to New
might
Jersey,
move to Jersey.
where it's like still
thinking
kind of
about it.
Philly
Finish that
adjacent.
deal?
No, they're like there's multiple deals out right now that like there are like multiple states have basically sent in bids to bring the Sixers to
to the-
wherever.
yeah.
Even Delaware got in the mix.
That would be
they
fun.
want
It
to
would
put
still
one
be
in like
Philly, though.
Newark.
They just play in a different
Yeah,
state.
it would be the
like
Philly. It would be the Philadelphia 76ers Delaware
they play in
edition.
Delaware. That would
No,
be
but
they'll be
the
the Brooklyn Nets
concept-
that play in New Jersey
The
again.
concept
That's not happening.
the concept for the Jersey arena is actually pretty cool. It would be like it would sit right across the river with like a pedestrian bridge
Yeah,
that
yeah,
goes
no, it
straight
makes-
into like into the center
The
of Philly.
Jersey thing makes a little more sense because it's like they have room in Jersey to build it. The Nets aren't going anywhere. They only moved there how long ago? Now it's like 14 years.
No,
Once.
No,
it's
like
11,
2011. So
Oh.
it's
13.
I remember
13
there were
years.
T-shirts like 2 years ago, I think.
well, that
My
was the
freshman
10-year.
year.
That was the 10-year anniversary. Was 2021.
Yes.
So
So we're in like 13
13.
years now.
they've
yeah.
had 13 years. They found success in Brooklyn. They have
I
a
don't,
fan
I
base
don't,
in
I don't think they
Brooklyn.
need to. They
They're not going
they
anywhere. They
shouldn't
have a
leave
New York
necessarily.
market. That's it. That's just most. the legendary Ralph Barbieri once sat down. Like I was talking to him, and he was just like, "I think the Nets stay in Brooklyn." I'm like, "Yeah, where are they going?"
Hopefully they move the Nets
I mean,
anywhere.
Jersey's the best option.
Move
They
them
were
back,
in
move
New
them
York.
back
They
to
were
Jersey.
in New York before they were in Jersey.
Okay, but New
Move
Jersey
them back to
Nets.
Jersey.
The only reason they were in Jersey in general
Jason
because the
Kidd.
Knicks kicked them out.
Jason Kidd.
Mm.
Jason Kidd is like a
Jason-
known New Jersey net.
legend.
Great for Jason Kidd, but now it's the Brooklyn
Great for New
Nets.
Jersey.
Don't want to be
I'm
associated
trying to look
with
out.
that history.
All New Jersey has it, right now is the
would
Devils.
you relinquish your Knicks fandom for the New Jersey Nets?
I think it's late.
Absolutely
not.
I think
Not
it's
you,
late. It's unfortunately late for me now because I am cemented and locked in now for like the rest of my life. My the period of like decision making occurred in like middle and high school, but now like I feel like if
Well,
you
this
switch
guy's-
teams now, it would be a little late for that.
This guy's like a New Jersey legend over here, so I think
Love
you'd have
Jersey,
to be
right?
a
I
Nets
do,
fan.
but I love
grew
New
up with
Jersey
the
as
New
much as the
Jersey
next
Nets,
guy.
and I picked the right team. I picked the New York Knicks.
I don't think you picked
But
the right team.
we're gonna
Playoff
have to
success
take-
is a little different.
I
when-
needed
at
the Garden.
Barclays Center.
I needed the Garden, to be honest. I couldn't get the Garden energy from the Rangers because obviously I'm a Devils fan, but
The Rock.
I couldn't go nowhere in MSG. Like, come on. Like, would I never set foot in MSG
I'm a
because I'm a
Rangers-
Nets and Devils fan? Come on now.
I'm a Rangers fan, very hockey adjacent.
Ah, okay.
As
But,
am I.
but you
Very-
see,
very
you're
Rangers
still just
casual.
trying to get in the Garden because it's an awesome experience,
I've
and to
never
have
been-
a team that plays in the Garden is like it's different.
The one hockey game I've ever been to. Well, I've been to one other one, but my first one ever was at Barclays Center. It was Islanders versus Penguins.
Oh, nice. I mean, it hurts your pockets at MSG, especially for the Rangers, but like, it's a different experience in the Garden.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a quick break right now, but we're going to talk about the actual winning team that plays in the Barclays with the Liberty and recap their championship run. You're listening to One on One, New York's longest sports call-in show on 90.7 and WFUV Sports YouTube.
What's up, everyone? I'm Lou Orlando.
I'm Will Talent.
And I'm Nick Palmer.
Together, we're your New York Yankees reporters for the 2024 season, and we're bringing you coverage of the Bronx Bombers this year from the best beats in baseball.
Don't miss another Aaron Judge home run. Tune into our on-field interviews, live updates, and post-game analysis from every Yankees home game.
If the Yankees win, we'll be there. If they lose, we'll be there too. Don't forget to check out our bonus coverage from the Rose Hill studio. WFUV is your home for New York sports.
And we are back with some more one-on-one. And just like I said before, it's time to talk about the winning team in New York. Well, we have a lot of winning teams right now in
Just
New
the
York.
winning basketball team
The
in
winning
New York.
basketball team that plays in the Barclays Center, because there's only one
a
of them.
championship
A
basketball team.
championship basketball team gave us the first New York parade in
48 years.
No.
since the Giants.
Well, sorry. I thought we were
2021
talking- sorry.
New York City Football
They-
Club
I don't think
count.
they got
won
a-
the
they don't-
MLS,
did they get
and
a
they
ticker
did it.
tape
They
parade?
did. Well, I don't know if it was a ticker
Then
tape
that
parade,
doesn't
but
count,
they
doesn't
did
count.
they did some kind of a celebration
If it's not a
near
ticker
City
tape
Hall.
parade,
I
it
think.
doesn't matter.
I
Fake
guess
parade. Anyway, we're gonna talk about the
Fake
real
parade.
chip is a chip,
fake-
in my opinion.
What
but-
the hair? Fake parade. But it was a run by the Liberty. I mean, I don't know if I'd say run. Going into the season, they were heavy favorites to win the title. They lost in the finals last year, which
It's
was
a super team.
They lost to the Aces.
End of the day.
Liberty have a super team. The Aces had a super team. So they had lost
Which
the finals
is-
before. They
oh.
come back. They win this one. A bit of a controversial Game 5 with, I mean, listen, I was rooting for the Liberty. That was not a foul. But nonetheless,
Hey, controversy
Ended
is
with a
good
championship.
for viewership, and the
It is.
WNBA needs viewership. So
Well, they had it in this game.
I know, they
2.15 million viewers.
it's huge.
It's huge.
So
in this
huge, and
game.
especially when you get 2.5 million people and you split them in half, and then you make them go at it on Twitter, it
Even
works
better.
wonders
It
for the
does.
league.
And you talk about, some people were saying rigged, that the WNBA commissioner did come out wearing a dress that was like had the New York skyline on it, which a lot of people weren't too much of a fan of. But
Well, the game was in New York, but like
So it makes a
I
little
can
sense.
see, I can
yeah, but
see
Minnesota
the
wins that
bias.
game. And
I
she's
can see how it'd be a little
coming out.
weird, but
I mean, overall, the Liberty dominated this season. They were the best team in the league, and it was interesting to watch because, like, you see a lot in the NBA. Super teams form all the time. In the WNBA, like, they formed a super team, and then they went out and won. I know the Minnesota coach wasn't too happy about it, and that's like one of my favorite things about WNBA is the players and coaches really don't care. I don't know. I guess they're not finding people out there, but that coach after the game was just like, it was rigged. Our
We
team
were robbed.
Yeah, we were
That's
robbed.
it's
And
just
then the coach
crazy
was like,
work.
we actually built our team the right way and showed you can make the finals. We didn't build a super team, circumvent the cap,
What-
fly private. Like she was going off.
For what though? Like, what?
I guess the Liberty,
oh my god, it doesn't make any sense.
I guess
to
the
me.
Liberty might have
Why does
done
this-
some things to work around the cap.
Why does this keep happening in the WNBA? Like, I feel like this is making them making the whole league seem like a bunch of sore losers. Like it's
It
really
hap-
bad
it-
because
it
like
happens.
between this and then you go back to like how the way Angel Reese handled Caitlin Clark and the way the league handled Caitlin Clark existing this season, like it's like a league of sore losers. It's actually crazy.
I think it's good for content, though. I mean,
I guess it's
if
good
you're
for
growing,
content.
Spreads the
if-
word a little bit more if someone's like getting angry. Like when I did a Liberty.
You can't just go around saying like, "Oh, we got totally robbed and they built a super
See,
team."
I
So
think
whatever.
you
Could you
can.
imagine
I
if
think
the
that's
Could you
awesome.
imagine if the Cavs like? Imagine if LeBron James came out and said that the Warriors shouldn't have their titles from that franchise
I can
run
imagine
or
he could
from
do-
that
he would-
dynasty
he could've
because they
done
built a super team.
He
I would
could've
have
done
loved that. That's my goat right there.
Well,
Anything he says
yeah, you
goes.
could have, but it would have been like
That's crazy.
it would have been like immature of LeBron to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't think it was.
almost
I
seems
think,
juvenile
I
to
think
say that like a team using using money and signing
Commenting on the
players and building an
referees-
awesome team. Like
commenting on the officiating is a thing that
that's a
happens
thing.
in all sports.
That's fine. Commenting
felt
on the
like
other
they-
team's process for building their team is just like that. Why?
I felt like there was a lot of commenting on the officiating throughout this entire series because it could have been called a little more fair. And again, the game won against the Liberty as well, against the Lynx.
The bad missed call right at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess you could say it would have never gotten to a Game 5 if that didn't happen. But overall, I think it was a really good series. Overall, the Liberty had a really good playoff
They
run.
dominate.
It was they
Mhm.
dominated the playoffs until then. Like they go down 0-1, they come back, take a 2-1 lead, and then the Game 4 was also a great game. Came down to the wire. I mean, all these games were really good basketball games, which all you can kind of ask for when you're really trying to grow the sport. But Game 7 was a Hall of Fame chuck fest. I mean, both teams did not shoot well, and kind of shows who I guess how good the Liberty are. That Sabrina Ionescu could shoot 1 of 19, and Brianna Stewart could shoot 4 of 15, and you'd still win the game. I mean,
Jonquel Jones is the big part of that.
who
That's why
also
she was
another
the finals
storyline
MVP.
about that was she lost the finals 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And a three-peat of losing the finals would have been historic,
Historically bad.
tough. I mean, has anyone ever done that in the NBA? Well, a single
Three-peat
player
fi-
losing three in a row?
It was the logo.
Jerry West?
Jerry West.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure had a
Didn't he do that-
crazy losing streak against the Celtics.
Yeah.
Where he won the Finals MVP as
Oh yeah.
a
During
losing
that
team.
run, he won the MVP in a losing series.
It's like same thing that just happened in hockey.
Yeah, Connor McDavid.
Connor McDavid. But Sabrina Ionescu obviously is the face of this team. She's like one of the big faces of Nike, and one of 19 in a Game 5,
Bad games
Game
happen.
7.
Bad games happen, and she got bailed.
Hey, and
Like
you
a-
know what? Stats don't matter in a Game 5, a Game 7. It's, hey, do what got you there. Keep chucking it up. Like, who cares if you shoot 1 of 19 or if you make shots? If you win, you win. you just gotta chuck. Like, who cares? Like, you gotta go out on your skill. It's like when Russ was the only good player on those Thunders teams in this last few years, and he was taking 50 shots a game. Looking at you, Angel, back there. You know what I'm talking about. Russ was taking 60 shots a game and dropping 40 points, and they're like, "Whoa!" Russ has 4 straight games with 40. That was Sabrina. Except
Sabrina's the best 3-point shooter on that team. Like, if it's Game 5 of the finals, who else would you want shooting that? Right?
Give her the ball until she gets hot.
I mean, it's like if you're the Lakers in the finals when Kobe's playing, like, you're giving the ball to Kobe for at least 40 shots, maybe, because
also got to respect the
he
confidence.
will make like half of them.
I mean, she was taking logo threes while she was shooting 1 of 17. I mean, like.
But that's crazy
that's
enough.
Unreal
that's her
confidence.
bag.
It is her
really
bag.
weirdly
She's a
bucket
getter.
I just want to talk about, even moving on from that, is just like the parade being really cool, and Brianna Stewart like asking for a bottle of wine
And getting
from
a bottle
fan
of wine.
and getting the bottle of wine,
I
and
think-
then the
I think
photo
we
with
can
her and the
say-
cigar outside of City Hall was awesome.
I think we can say that, like, because I didn't watch Sports Center the day of the parade, but like I know it got some local news coverage and stuff. But like I saw like maybe 1 or 2 social media posts about it, like from like a full day of scrolling, like at different times. I saw like maybe 2 posts. I think
Surprising.
I think this championship was like criminally undercovered.
I don't know about undercovered. I agree with you about the parade. It's weird with parades because they always happen like during the week, and
It's because
like,
it's the ticker tape parade. You have to have people in the
people in the
office.
office.
Think about how many people watched like even not even for the parade. Think about just for Game 5. Like I know you said 2.5 million people tuned in for that, but how many people do you think were watching Sunday Night Football over the WNBA Finals?
You could have been like me and triple rotted with 3 TVs going
I didn't.
on.
I was doing the Mets
Yeah,
game
the-
on the laptop
you know,
and
Mets,
the Liberty up
Yeah,
here.
Liberty
the
and
dedicated
football.
the
My brain
dedicated sports
was-
fan
it was a little
absolutely does
mush.
it. I was watching the end of Game 5 on my computer with Sunday Night Football on the TV.
Yeah.
But like the casual sports fan is not gonna throw the WNBA Finals on
I
over
think
Sunday Night
they
Football.
might have
I think
now.
I think if
Game
for Game
5 people
5
did. That's why they
and with
had
the
that.
Liberty, I think they definitely. I think the WNBA for this playoffs was covered really well. It's also the Liberty season kind of comes to an end at a bad time. You're competing with basically, I mean, end of baseball playoffs, start of NBA, NFL season's going on, and still being able to pull a number like that is super impressive. And going to the
But
the parade,
it shouldn't even be a question of can they pull that much. Like this, like we're talking about.
This is the biggest year in viewership for the WNBA.
it's gonna
since
keep
it
going up.
started. So
I know.
that's just how it happens.
Yeah, and I guess it's just like the numbers just aren't there yet. But like this is a league that wants to be like it wants to be respected in the same level that the other
getting to
major
that
4
point.
leagues. Yes,
Mhm.
it's getting there.
It just takes a while
But
to get to
this
that
is this is the final. This is the last. This is the decisive game of the finals, and like this is for all the marbles. This is the biggest game of the entire season for the WNBA, and we're still talking about like the start of the NBA season, the start of the hockey season, the start or like the middle of the football
I mean,
season.
though
Like
it-
those somehow being in mid-season are like they have somehow more gravity than the last game of the entire season for all the marbles in the WNBA.
I think though you
How-
can
like,
say that about
that's gotta
baseball
go to the
though,
top
too.
of the list.
Like you can talk
It's
about
actually
Yankees
true.
game 1 with it was Dodgers Yankees game 1 last night. The Lakers had a sold out game. Like so many people were probably rather watching the Lakers game. Like that's just how it's gonna go. There's so many
People are
sports going
watching-
on, and
If it's on a Sunday, people are going to watch football too.
yeah, and I mean even talk about there's people probably watching USC Rutgers over the Yankees Dodgers games. Like viewership, like if the numbers are going up, I think you can take that as anyway. Even with markability, like they're all competing against each other, and at
I
this
feel
time
like
of the year, you
Sunday just
can't-
might be Sunday night might just have been like a bad pick for that game. Like maybe
You
the
don't get to-
schedule.
you don't do it.
I
I
feel like
think
the,
you
like the
choice.
schedule probably just kind of wound up like that. But I feel like there's like
But you don't get
in
to
the future
choose
at
that,
least.
though.
In the future, there should be more foresight to try and get this game lined up, like not with competing things. Because like if we're gonna
I
work
think you
off
want that
the
competition,
basis,
How are you
though.
gonna say that when like you could have multiple playoff sports at the same time? Like you have playoff basketball, you can have hockey coming to an end during that too.
Oh well, yeah, but that
But I'm
like
just
that's
saying, like,
circumstantial for that. They like
It's
the
also
WNBA
circumstantial
season
for the WNBA.
The WNBA season is winding down right now when most other sports, like other than baseball, are starting to. Like, they're not even ramping up. They're like just starting. You have the ability to take advantage of that situation and like make sure that the most people possible can get their eyes on this game, but instead it's competing with Sunday Night Football.
I just think that if you're the WNBA, you really want that. You want to see how you can compare up against the other top sports, and I think if you have them on the same night, you're seeing how your ratings are. I mean, they pulled 2.5 million people with a big playoff baseball game and Sunday Night Football. Like, you're seeing how you can. If you throw it on Monday night, you're not really competing with anything. You want to see how you rank up against your competitors. But that is going to do it for this Liberty segment. I know it's a little quick, but hopefully we can get another parade in the next coming weeks with the Yankees.
Shout out to Liberty, though. 2024
shout out
WNBA
First
champions.
Original franchise getting their first chip.
Yeah. But we're going to hop into some college football after this quick break. You've been listening to One on One on WFUV Sports YouTube and 90.7.
It's WFUV New York, public media from Fordham University, home of first listens and classic favorites. Tickets for holiday cheer for FUV are on sale now. Visit WFUV.org.
Welcome back to One on One. Angels got us with some gas lo-fi music.
I'm feeling so zen right now. Thank you,
I think
Angel.
that might be the yawning is
right
what's
now.
going on with
Yeah,
that. I think that might be the yawning.
You're putting Kurt to sleep, Angel. Stop.
Yeah, turn up some. I don't even know. There's no such thing as a
True.
hype
You
lo-fi.
can't really get away with a lot when you have to run uncopyrighted music. Like,
shout out lo-fi.
It is what it is.
Great
Shout out
study.
lo-fi.
Shout out the lo-fi girl.
She has not stopped studying.
She's always
30
studying.
years.
But talk about, I guess in a way, studying. We're moving to some college sports.
Hitting the books.
Yeah.
And the gridiron.
We've got a lot of good matchups today. I want to start off. We're going to be talking all the ranked versus ranked matchups. And we got some Oregon versus Illinois. And talk about Oregon, number 1 team in the country. They've had some really good wins this year. They beat Ohio State. A lot of close games. They just blew out Purdue last week. They're a wagon, and they've been talked about as a wagon. First year in the Big Ten, and they're putting everyone on notice. I mean, they're a really good team. Dylan Gabriel leading the way. Just overall, Tucker, I'll start with you over here. What are your overall thoughts on just Oregon so far this year?
At the start of the season, I had my doubts because obviously coming into a new conference in the Big Ten, jumping ship from the Pac-12, I expected them to have more of an issue with the regular guys from the Big Ten with hegemony, like your Ohio State, your Penn State, even your Michigan, who's having like a much more mid-season this year for winning a national championship last year. But this Oregon team, that Ohio State game was one of the best games I've watched this year, if not the best game I've watched this year. And just like all the way down to that little smart football move by Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin?
Or not Lane Kiffin, sorry. Who's up there?
Oh, my God.
I'm pretty sure it's Lane Kiffin.
It's not Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss.
Oh, you're right.
Why am I blanking on his name right now?
Who, the Oregon head coach?
Yeah.
Dan Lanning?
Dan Lanning,
there
thank
we
you.
go.
Lane
The Zen
Kiffin.
guy.
Sorry, I was confused for a second.
Regardless, Dan Lanning. Sorry to Oregon football.
This guy hosts College Gridiron?
It's been a minute. Like I was on like the first 5 weeks, and it's been like on and off since then. But regardless, Dan Lanning. Apologies to the Oregon Ducks. Dan Lanning with a creative play at the end of the Ohio State game to throw an extra guy on the field and get the play stopped and force Will Howard to basically make a mistake.
Yeah, mistake. He made the mistake.
College football low-key changed the rules after that game.
But that's like the fake slide with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, this Oregon team is definitely a wagon. And they also manhandled Purdue last week at Purdue.
I wanted to mention that in my analysis of just Oregon in general is that Dan Lanning, while they were on the road at Purdue after a big Ohio State win, he still goes out and he tells his squad to go hard and don't stop.
Yeah, and
which
that would be the difference.
With a team that's number one, you can think about going into an unranked Purdue and being like, let me just like waltz in, take care of business. Let him score a little bit. No. Don't let him score.
Nope. And
Don't
there
do
haven't been
anything.
that many shutouts in college football this year. So I'd like, and especially on the road too, to completely blank a team in the Big Ten is like next to unheard of.
And they did it to Purdue, which is Tyrone Tracy Jr. University.
Yeah,
Shout
like
out Tyrone Tracy Jr.
For this matchup with Illinois today, I look back to Illinois' overtime win versus Purdue, where they won that game 50-49. That's
fireworks.
Crazy.
For a Purdue team that's as bad as it is this year. This is the same Purdue that got blown out like 56-0 against Notre Dame earlier this year. Oregon just beat them 35-0 on their own field.
Yeah.
I mean, Illinois also got dominated by Penn State. 21-7. But
like Illinois is they're riding some momentum? Yes. Are they riding this number 20 ranking? 100%.
I think
Are they
Illinois.
beating
they're
Oregon?
not beating
I
Oregon.
think they're better than the 20th ranking.
You think they're competing
They're
with Oregon?
they
They're
might be a
much
little bit
better
better.
than the 20th ranking.
They'll probably score like
They
a
had
little bit. I'm sure
180
like Altmaier will probably
They had 180
they'll get
yards
some things
against
going.
the Michigan defense, which is pretty big.
Oregon's just too much. Oregon's way too much for Illinois. I just give me the Ducks in this game by like
I'm not
20.
I'm not going to say that you're not wrong,
20.
but I think that Illinois also just has had a very good one season so far. Their schedule has not been easy. They've been tested. 5 of their last 7 games are ranked games. I don't want to take Oregon because I know it's probably like Oregon's favored by 21.
Do it. Go with the Duck.
Do it.
The Duck wanted.
I don't.
The Duck got demasked last week.
He
against
did.
Purdue.
That
I
was
don't know if you
so
guys saw
funny.
that.
Oh
He
my
did fall.
god!
That was pretty tough.
Demasked
Actually,
the
shout out
Duck.
to the mascot, like the guy in the suit though, for like getting the Duck head back on as fast as possible.
Luke Altmaier is also just like an efficient pass, like one of the most efficient
like again,
passers.
he's not a bad quarterback.
1,500 yards for the year.
Is he going to be able to get Illinois' offense working as much as it needs to keep up with Oregon? No.
Absolutely not. I mean, Oregon.
Well, you never know. You can also like Oregon has had those tough games against Purdue. You never know if they sleepwalk into this one.
Oregon's the only undefeated team remaining, correct? Like in
There's-
the teams that matter in the top 25, I believe there's only. Boise State might be undefeated, but that's. I want to move on to now.
Yeah.
A shocking team that is in the
Penn
top
State's
25.
undefeated.
Okay.
I thought
Miami.
the Nittany
Miami's-
Lions.
Miami
were
should not have won
undefeated.
that game. That interception touchdown controversy, but I want to talk about Texas and Vanderbilt.
Hey now.
Vanderbilt.
Anchor down, baby.
SEC
Vandy.
wagon Vandy now. I mean, they beat Alabama.
I mean, beat the number 1 team in the country once, and suddenly it's.
Are
worth
you
a
also an
25
Alabama
ring.
fan?
No. God, no.
I actually I'm not an Alabama fan, but I'm an Alabama supporter. Shout out Jalen Milroe. That's my guy right there. But this is a good
Future
game.
Giant Jalen Milroe.
Future Giant. Interesting game for Texas coming off a big loss for them. Do I see them having a problem with Vanderbilt? I mean, maybe. I mean, Vanderbilt's been shocking people, but Texas is Texas. Like, I kind of look at last week's game as more of a shocker. a little quarterback controversy brewing down there in Texas.
Well,
Saw some rumors
what's even
earlier in the
going on
week
with them,
about
you know?
Quinn Ewers maybe not finishing the year. I'll let you take over on that. I don't know if that was true or not.
No, I think going forward, like, obviously they had to use Arch in the Georgia game because it wasn't going well with
necessity.
Quinn, but like that'll probably be how it progresses for the rest of the year. I doubt Texas ever gives Arch Manning the starting job this season.
While Quinn is there, you think?
Yeah, no. It's going to be Quinn, and then if Quinn isn't getting the offense firing, they'll move to Arch. But it's going to be Quinn the rest of the way through. There's really no reason for them not to do that. This is still Georgia. This Georgia team lost to Alabama, but that makes them no less Georgia. This Georgia's defense is probably one of the best, if not the best defense in the country, because it's an SEC defense.
Just keep them away from driving.
Like it's cliche, and I say it every time I mention the SEC, but it really goes, like, to some extent, it goes without saying. It just means more. The SEC is just so different, and I think that Texas could run into a bit of an issue here. They're going on the road again, so teams like ranked teams, especially in the top 10, when they go on the road, you can pretty much always put them on upset watch. I would say even more so because Vanderbilt has already gotten it done this year against a top 5 team, a number 1 team in Alabama, a team that already beat Georgia, who beat Texas. So if you do the whole like college football,
that means Vanderbilt's the best team in the country.
This guy beat this guy. Yeah, you like do the whole round, and Vanderbilt might be the best team in the country.
Has a
That's
very
ridiculous.
Good QB.
Yeah,
they have a very good defense.
Mm-hmm.
They don't turn the ball over very often.
And I would give more credit to Georgia's defense if they didn't lose to Bama.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, okay, there are some holes there. There were holes in the Georgia defense that Texas was not able to expose. Will another SEC defense in Vanderbilt be able to bring the same kind of heat? Keep Quinn Ewers from completing passes? Like, if Arch Manning goes into this game out of necessity against Vanderbilt, the alarms are already going off.
Well,
I think at that
Vanderbilt
point.
is just. I want to take Vanderbilt because I have the connection to the anchor down.
I
do believe in Vanderbilt. Also, shout out to my former bowling coach, Maria Bolanova.
It's always a bowling shout out.
Bold on the Vanderbilt winning when they won the national title. So yeah, I just want to. That's why I'm taking Vanderbilt. It's a personal connection. Also, I just believe in Vanderbilt. They have won, I think, all of their games, or they've won 3 out of the 4 of the games where they were the betting when they weren't
Underdog?
the betting
They're
favorite.
17-point underdogs today.
So I am confident.
They'll
in
cover
Vandy.
that at least. That's a big old super.
Confident in Vandy. Anchors down.
So you're taking a Vandy win or a Vandy cover?
Vandy win.
Vandy cover because they're my dogs from week 1. They were my super dog on College Gridiron, but I don't trust it. Like,
do it.
This Texas they've been sitting
Tucker,
1.
Tucker, do it.
Texas has been sitting 1 all season, and
just do it.
They're 5 now.
Just take Vanderbilt.
With Vanderbilt
I
being
know you
ranked,
want to take Vanderbilt.
I don't think they can lose this game, and I
I
think they know they can't lose if they want to
Vanderbilt.
keep moving. It's horns up. It's Texas.
It's
the
horns down.
Longhorns.
It's
And
anchors
unfortunately,
I agree with you. I think
all
if
the live
Texas,
long day.
Like
All
Vanderbilt,
the live long day.
I
horns
agree
up.
with you. I think Vanderbilt's riding a high where Texas is more in a
You can ride the high all the way.
must-win
all
game.
the way.
It's a little different than a must-win game. But the next game we got number 8 LSU versus number 14 Texas A&M. Both 6-1 teams. LSU has a lot of talent on that team. Kyron Lacey.
Oh, wow.
I love that guy because he just reminds me of Malik Neighbors. Also, shout out all LSU wide receivers. So good at what they do. But, again, once again, I'll start with you, Tucker. How are we feeling about this game?
This one, I think, boils down to the quarterback matchup. Like, it's Garrett Nussmeier, who's got over 2,200 passing yards this season, and I'm given a much larger sample size than Connor Wegman this year.
He
but
only has 3 games.
Yeah, exactly. Wegman has been, and even in those 3 games, he's been hit or miss. Like, he was awful against Notre Dame in the opener, and that was at Kyle
Against
Field.
Mississippi, he completed 15 of his 25, which isn't horrendous.
Yeah, like going into this season, I think the college football video game probably had everyone thinking that Kyle Field was like the hardest place to play in the country.
It also had me thinking
but it just
the DN Nick Scorton was like the best guy in college football.
Yeah, no, it really did. I was like, okay, so Texas A&M is going to be nice because no one can play on their field.
Yeah.
But then Notre Dame beats them there in the first week.
Apparently
and
your
this
routes
week,
don't shake when you play real college football.
Yeah, no, apparently
No,
like the
that's-
receivers actually know what route they're running.
They still know
That's
what they're
crazy.
doing.
It's an unrealistic simulation. But Yeah, no, I'd give this game to LSU on the road because I've liked their momentum over the past few weeks. This is the last 2 undefeated teams in SEC play, which I'm really surprised by. But at the same time, we knew the SEC cannibalism was coming because we've been looking at Texas, Georgia, and Georgia, Alabama all season.
Yeah, they were always going to beat up on each other.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the Aggies because of their passing defense and their attacking is just much better.
I like that.
And I feel like they can beat up on the Tigers.
If
think
Nussmeier is good enough to pick through them, then it'll go LSU's way. But I think you're entirely right. That secondary is nice for A&M.
If the A&M quarterback also, if Wigman comes in and actually does his job, especially I don't want to put too much emphasis on that because he's only coming back from an injury and he's only had 3 games back.
LSU's defense is on the weaker side this season.
It is.
So
that's why I'm taking the Aggies because they're passing it. They're passing attacks, and they can turn the ball over. They can get LSU to turn the ball over.
Yeah, and with home field advantage is home field advantage. I've been talking about how I don't think it's going to matter that much, but at the end of the day, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for Garrett Nussmeier to hear anything in that joint because it's 108,000 people.
The top 15. So it's going to be a big game either way.
Mm-hmm. This is a bigger game than Bama, Missouri, based on just ranking, which we'll also get into.
Also, same record. I'm going to go LSU also just because I'm a LSU homer. I like, OBJ and Malik Neighbors have saved my franchise twice, so always got to ride with LSU
Malik
guys.
Neighbors hasn't saved the Giants.
Yeah, one of my friends from freshman years from Louisiana, and he's a big LSU fan.
There you go.
So.
The next game we got already started. It's number 12 Notre Dame versus number 24
Hey now, we
Navy.
have a kickoff.
Notre Dame is up 7-0 with 10 minutes remaining in the first.
Go
Irish! I think it's kind of crazy to see Navy ranked.
You got 2 guys
because,
with ginger hair saying about
Navy's
the
not
Irish.
a team that throws the ball ever. These teams, Navy and Army, don't like to throw the ball.
No, they are football purists.
Oh, they love
it.
Triple
it
option.
was always power O from the I form.
It was always power O, triple option, and then just run the ball. But Notre Dame kind of having a I would say a little bit of a underwhelming season. I mean,
they stumbled.
They definitely stumbled against who they lose. Who's their one loss against?
Northern Illinois.
Jeez,
the silence
bad.
after that was
a bad one.
Pretty egregious.
Notre Dame is still in the playoff picture right now at number 12.
They haven't moved in a couple weeks, and I think it's because of that. It's because of the Northern Illinois loss that the AP doesn't want to bump them past 12. Just because that loss is still keeping them down. But yeah, again, they don't want to remove them entirely from the discussion because since the Northern Illinois loss, they've kind of picked up exactly where they left off. They played great offensively against Texas A&M in the 3rd and 4th quarters.
Navy also has a crazy offense, though. We talked about it before.
Notre Dame's defense is good.
Oh no,
they got a good defense.
I don't think I can't bet against Notre Dame because they're going to be too much for the Navy defense, who are probably, if you're watching this game,
those are soldiers you're betting against, right?
But
that's a real
hold
defense.
on,
but
hold on.
The pressure's also on for Navy too because they normally play in a much smaller stadium, much smaller crowd capacity. That's for their home games.
You're watching.
Oh yeah,
this game is in MetLife Stadium because
they play in MetLife for Army Navy.
They do. Well, yeah, they do for Army Navy. Well, because it's a huge game
last year.
But that's a little different when you're playing Army Navy. Now you're playing Notre Dame versus Navy, ranked opponents.
Army Navy is a bigger rivalry.
It's the reason why
it is. But
this
is a ranked game, and you can't lose this game if you're Navy.
It would have been in MetLife if it was ranked or not, because Notre Dame Navy is an old rivalry. I think they've played 90 something times, maybe 100+ times.
That is definitely the 2 oldest.
They're very old
out there.
One of the stats I did want to bring up, it's a bit out of the blue, but Texas and Vanderbilt haven't matched up in 96 years.
Since 1928, right? Yeah,
that's one. I just wanted to
crazy.
bring that up because you talked about old matchups. That was just crazy to me when I read that last night.
Mm-hmm. No, I have that in here too. I wish I mentioned it when we were still talking Texas Vanderbilt, but that's
back
crazy.
To Notre Dame and Navy.
Yeah. This game's in MetLife because it pulls a huge crowd between the Notre Dame fans and Navy fans who show out in bigger force than their normal home games because it's the Notre Dame Navy game. And the same thing happens for Notre Dame Army or Army Navy. They play in bigger stadiums because they attract a larger audience for those games. But I think that also mounts the pressure more for Navy than it does for Notre Dame because Notre Dame has already won a game at Kyle Field against Texas A&M. And they win big games with big crowds.
I don't think that this is any pressure on Notre Dame because I feel like Notre Dame
not at
has
all.
the better rushing, and Navy's defense is probably going to be a revolving door.
Just everybody, please watch your Achilles and ACLs today, please.
And
Th-
watch
that
it
turf.
to-
That
watch
turf
it
is
tomorrow.
evil. That
Shout
turf
out-
is so evil.
Shout
It
out
is.
MetLife Turf. So
Shout out to
we're
MetLife
both
Turf.
going with Notre Dame.
yeah.
I'll hop on the Notre Dame bandwagon right there. But now
Welcome to
for
the
our
wagon.
final ranked versus ranked matchup of the day, we got 21 Mizzou heading to number 15 Alabama. And you talk about a team that's tripping right now. That's Alabama. Jalen Milroe hasn't looked great in these last couple of games and a couple bad losses for them. So just how are we feeling overall about this game and Alabama in general?
Alabama's trying to avoid back-to-back losses for the first time in a long time. First time I can remember in a while that they're trying to
Also
avoid
got to be
losing in
lowest ranked
back-to-back
they've
weeks.
been in a long time.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And Missouri is kind of in a similar boat to Alabama in that they both stumbled early in the season and fallen from grace, so to speak, from the higher rankings down to, sort of mid-table teams. But this is a must-win for both. I saw a stat from ESPN, I think a couple days ago. Both of these teams' CFP chances move to around 50% if they win. But if either of them lose, which one of them has to lose, that chance goes down to roughly 10%.
Season's over.
Yeah.
So this is basically a playoff game.
I think Missouri might take it. I like Missouri's defense more. I like
In
the
Tuscaloosa.
sacking. I like the sacking ability of I don't know how to pronounce his name. Lang. His last name's Lang. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but he has 3 sacks on the year. I like that more for Missouri, especially when you're pressuring an Alabama QB who's been a bit uncomfortable. And DeBoer, Alabama's head coach, has not been great. He's trying to avoid he's on a 2-2 start right now, or the losses.
2-2 conference
Yeah,
start.
2-2 conference start, which is ridiculous.
little
One,
unacceptable
for
in the SEC.
Alabama.
Yeah.
2, it's just they haven't looked like Alabama. So,
They've been vulnerable.
yeah, and that never happens.
Mhm.
So, I think it's all on Mizzou right now.
It's also, I'm glad you mentioned DeBoer because this is a clearly different Alabama program without Nick Saban.
Very different.
Well, it's
They walked into Tennessee last week already smoking cigars as they were in the tunnel. This is
Bad look.
this is pregame on the way into the stadium. I get you beat Tennessee last year in Alabama, but 2 years ago, I don't know if you guys remember, but 2 years ago they were at Tennessee, and that was a barn burner that ended on a last-second field goal. The goalposts winded up in the Cumberland River.
I love when
And Tennessee won again last week.
taking down the goalposts because everyone's just like, where do we put these after we
In the river, in the water.
just throw them out?
Find a body of water and it
Get
goes
'em
in
out.
there.
But
But
yeah,
regardless, for this game, I'm going to take Alabama because they're at home. They're defending Saban Field. They're also defending possibly going 2 losses in a row, which they haven't done in a while. And I'm sure DeBoer is going to be all over his team. He probably was this week, all over his team to make sure you get a win this weekend because it's must win. There's no other way to slice it.
Give me Missouri football all the way. I want them to win the game, and I think they will win the game. I like their defense more, and I also think their coaching's better.
So Mizzou, Bama.
Bama.
I'll take Bama.
This guy's a bandwagon.
I am a bandwagon Bama fan, but
Roll Tide.
we're gonna have to head on to a little more of a depressing topic. We're gonna be talking
boy.
some New York football, which is not good looks right now. We'll get into that after a quick break. You're listening to One on One, New York's longest sports call-in show on WFUV Sports YouTube and 90.7 FM.
Hey, it's Chaz McAdams here calling you to tune in to WFUV Sports One-on-One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. With hot takes covering all sports from the 5 boroughs and beyond, to interviews with some of the biggest names in sports media. We're live Saturdays on the WFUV Sports YouTube from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then later on 90.7 FM from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Come join us next Saturday for One-on-One.
Welcome back, and it's time to talk about something that is not that much fun to watch. It's New York football. That's the Giants
Well,
and the
it can
Jets.
be fun at times.
No,
Just
no,
like
I know.
at the
times?
end of the fourth quarter, you're always like, "Aw." But like
That's
in,
how I
in the
feel
second quarter,
constantly.
you might be like, "Yeah." But
Football.
It
That's
does-
not how I feel.
it does depend on things. I think the Jets fans right now probably have more to celebrate than
What do they have?
Giants
Hold on,
fans.
hold on.
At least your
What do they
quarterback.
have to
At least your
celebrate?
quarterback has been responsible, or not your. At least the Jets quarterback has been responsible for an
Two.
offensive touchdown
But
at home
but he won't
in the
even
last
take
2
response for
years.
things that are bad.
There's been
He won't take response for anything, actually.
It has been over 600
I'm
days
not
since Daniel
saying-
Jones was
I'm not
responsible
saying-
for a touchdown
not
at
saying-
MetLife Stadium.
Not saying anything wrong with that.
This is
But
the
you're
franchise
happy,
quarterback.
You're happy if you're a Jets fan right now.
Uh,
2-6.
Happier than a Giants fan.
2-5. Excuse me.
I
Jets
can't believe.
fans.
So this is the state of New York football, that we cannot agree on who's having a more miserable season.
Nope.
It's bad. New York football is
New York
bad.
sports, ladies and gentlemen.
I can see Angel getting ready to come in on this now because
Let's start off with some Giants talk here before we hop into the Jets, because
yeah,
the Giants are a dumpster
Awful?
fire.
A football team.
awful.
They
Daniel
are the
Jones.
100th anniversary football team.
Yeah, the Giants
Yes,
are a
sir.
100-year-old
We did
football team.
get announced earlier
you
this
go.
week that from John Mara that Joe Shane and Brian Dable, for now, they will be coming back next year and their jobs are safe. I think
I don't
that's
hate
an
that.
interesting
I like
comment though by him, because he also said at one point Ben McAdoo's job was safe. He also said at one point during the season that Joe Judge's job was safe. So
But this is different. This is different.
This is different. It's not the same Giants organization, but a continued thing for the Giants is putting Daniel Jones out there despite him not throwing a touchdown pass in now I think it's over 660-something days.
At home,
we
though,
just
at
heard it.
home, because he does do it on the road.
on the
can do
road,
it
at
on the
home,
road.
on home.
He
But
does it on the road, but just not in MetLife.
an
for
interesting
some
part
reason.
about his contract is if he does get hurt, he's injury guaranteed his contract for the next 2 years. But if he stays healthy, they can cut him at the end of the year for no loss. Maybe like $9 million dead cap, which is not bad. So like,
They'd have
It's
to
just-
have an awful. They'd have to be like one.
should he still be the starting quarterback? Is my question.
right now?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, you're not going to
Well,
run
you
Drew
just-
Lock out there and
that's-
expect him to put up numbers.
This
you
is
know?
You're not
his-
trying to
this
put
is
up
his
numbers.
This is his last chance.
There's too many. His last chance was
no,
week
no,
one.
But this is like legitimately like I feel
Yeah,
It's
like
year
we
after
said
six.
this
that.
game-
We
It's
said
his-
we
we
said
said
his
that
last
3
chance
years
was week
ago.
1, and he played horribly. And then we were all like, "Oh, okay, so just like get rid of Daniel Jones now. That's fine." But then week 2, he came out and he had like an okay game, and then proceeded to play all
He's
right for
leading
the next
us
like
to
4
a playoff
weeks.
win against the Vikings again. It's
No,
gonna
just
happen.
no. Because
those times are over.
even though the Vikings are like, it got revealed that they are fraudulent way earlier than I thought it was going to be. So like, I guess, the Vikings are back to being frauds again. But the Giants still lost to the Vikings, and the Bengals game was close. But again, it was just like a couple mistakes by the defense that let it go. And I think you could make more of an argument that the Giants could try to do anything with the rest of this season if they didn't have the injuries. No
That's-
Tibbs
that's
for a while.
agreeable.
Andrew Thomas goes
Their
down, and
O-line
this
is
is
gone.
huge. This is what I wanted to get to this for the Giants. Andrew Thomas, we knew, and we talked about on NFL Friday when it happened, that Andrew Thomas's injury and absence from this offensive line was going to have an impact on the Giants. We knew it was going to have a negative impact. Did I think it was going to be a nuclear catastrophe on the offensive line that Andrew Thomas is not playing on the left side anymore? No. But here we are. Daniel Jones, after spending the whole season with pretty good protection, got sacked 7 times against the Eagles. An Eagles
happen.
defense that isn't even as good as it was last year. And he's still getting sacked 7 times. No touchdown again at home. And the offensive line basically just lost all its cohesion. Andrew Thomas apparently was not only probably the best lineman in that O-line, but also the glue guy. And he's gone.
The Giants are just bad. There's nothing else to say about
And
them.
that
That
is
they're
my
just bad.
exact point of why Daniel Jones should not be playing. Look at the O-line.
But what are we, he's tanking now?
No, I'm not saying tanking.
There's no tanking.
Illuminor
but
might
Drew
be
Lock
out.
coming in is
No,
tanking.
Illuminor might be out this week.
No, it's a spark.
Andrew Thomas is already out. Daniel Jones if Daniel Jones gets hurt, this franchise is screwed for 2 full more years.
Oh, if Daniel Jones gets hurt, because he's
his
stuck.
contract
he's
becomes
stuck.
guaranteed.
Yeah,
That's what my point was earlier. Is that he needs to be benched.
He better not get hurt
because of that injury guarantee. Because if he gets hurt, they can't take him. They're stuck with him for 2 more years.
You gotta give him.
So that's why I'm saying you have to bench him now, just for the
one more game.
What could Daniel Jones do?
I agree with the one more
What
game.
could Jones do the
We've
rest
been
of this
saying
year
one
that
more
would
game.
prove?
When are they gonna pull the
the
plug?
What could Daniel Jones do in the rest of these games to convince you that he should be the quarterback next year?
Actually, let's.
I don't think there's anything.
How about this question?
Win games.
What is Daniel Jones doing on Monday Night Football against the Steelers defense with no O-line?
Running the ball.
He's
Hello,
going to
that's
get blown up.
Just how to get Daniel Jones injured? Speed run.
He is the third best rusher on this Giants team. No, but I don't disagree with you. Is that one? The Giants are just not great, but also you pay Daniel Jones a lot of money.
It's a bright future.
You pay Daniel Jones a lot of money to
Should've
play
paid
football.
No, he should not have paid Saquon.
Should have paid Saquon.
Oh, well,
no.
You want to talk about how much they paid Saquon, and Saquon killed you.
Doesn't matter. We paid more
176
better O-linemen.
yards.
187 all-purpose. He had a reception for 11 yards.
I'm just saying, like, the Giants in general are just not.
Should not have paid Saquon.
The
O-line was upgraded with the money that would have gone to Saquon.
And they got injured. So what's the difference now?
Well,
Andrew
they
Thomas
didn't
is
all
already
get
there.
injured. It's just
We
Andrew
have
Thomas.
there's two new guards and a new right
actual-
tackle, and the O-line has been good this year until Andrew Thomas went out with an injury.
Who apparently clearly was the adhesive of the entire line.
And also,
we've seen that throughout his whole career. He matters so much to this O-line.
Neighbors
There's a reason he's got a
isn't
C
getting
on
the
his
ball.
jersey.
That's not true, though. He leads the league in targets and receptions.
But I feel but last game that they played with Jones and Malik the first game back. Malik only got 4 catches, and his response in the press conference was, "I was open."
Yeah, because he is
It
open.
looked like it was
he's open constantly.
But no, I'm not saying anything wrong with that. But it just feels like there's a lack of. Not confidence, but it's getting to be frustrating for Malik Neighbors.
Yes, because
right
Daniel
now.
Jones is atrocious.
Yeah, no. If I was a Giants receiver, I would not be confident in the balls I'm getting from Daniel Jones.
And Dable is known for running passing plays, and we saw that with him again in Buffalo.
He also doesn't
and
have
he's
a
not
reliable
doing
running
that
back
anymore.
But
you could
Saquon
still-
Barkley was taking the
But
pressure
he's also
off.
Daniel Jones isn't able to throw the ball. He can't He can't
no,
throw the ball.
because that's the thing. That's been the thing with Daniel Jones. He can throw the ball. We've seen him make the plays that he needs to make before. It's the decision making.
I want to just read you this.
The
stat.
decision making
He
is
is
bad.
5
The passes
of
are bad.
20.
He can't
He's
throw the ball
5
past.
of 22 from 20 yards or more. when
Yeah,
he throws the ball.
because
That's
then
crazy.
why are you
Because when he
advocating
look-
for
when
him
he-
to play?
No, because when he
I'm
looks
advocating
downfield,
for him to play one more game to see what happens.
No.
When Daniel
how many
Jones-
more
What
games-
else
what
do you
need
have to
see?
lose?
Him getting hurt.
Yeah,
If he gets
'cause he's
hurt,
stuck on the team
he's
for
stuck
2
on the
years.
team for 2 more years. That is something that is massive to lose. You cannot, and $40 million from that is what there's to lose.
The Giants they need to be able, this offseason, the option needs to be there for them to pivot to a rookie quarterback. It needs to be there. Because if you're stuck with Daniel Jones again, you have no direction for the next 2 years again. Because there was barely a direction coming into this season with Daniel Jones still here. They got Malik Neighbors in the draft because they were like, okay, we can either get a low-end, high-pick quarterback or one of the highest, if not the highest wide receiver that we could possibly get in this draft. And they went after the receiver because they know that down the line they're going to have to get the quarterback eventually. It's probably going to be this year because Daniel Jones is not even pedestrian. In the bad games, he's atrocious, and the reason why they lose.
Yeah, I agree with the process they did in the draft. Real quick, I want to hop into some Jets talk. Also 2-5 this year. They trade for Devontae Adams, then they go out and lose to the Steelers on Sunday Night Football.
Check right now. It was on Sunday night.
Sunday Night Football, and I mean you could say the Jets season's over. 2-5, Bills
they
are
can
winning.
still beat the Cardinals, the Texans,
this is it.
the Patriots.
I wrote in my notes that they have a game Sunday. They're on the road in Foxborough against the Patriots, and they already beat the Patriots once at MetLife this year earlier. It was like
One of their 2 wins is
24-3.
the Patriots.
And the Patriots have been putting up more. I guess the defense was healthier then for the Jets because it's not healthy now. Between Ashton Davis and Tony Adams both being out at safety, the secondary is like wide open right now. And Jermaine Johnson, obviously, with the Achilles back in September, that's been hurting them. But, the Jets have lost 4 in a row. But a win against the Patriots could reboot the
propel
season.
them
Could
forward.
reboot the season.
One thing I just want to say
I don't
quickly
know.
is Devontae Adams having a speech in the locker room. The first day that he's here, he has a speech because he thinks that this Jets team is just awful.
I think the thing with
He
this
thinks that
Jets
the whole
team is
locker room
it's
is
too
just
many egos.
awful.
Everyone thinks they're playing for them. They're not a Jet.
Aaron Rodgers is the biggest problem with this team, and I've been saying it all year, and it continues to be that Aaron Rodgers is the problem. Aaron Rodgers is the main issue. Aaron Rodgers is now blaming his receivers again. It's just getting worse for the Jets because Aaron Rodgers is the big personality. It's like Kyrie Irving on the Nets. It's just never
Wow.
it's going to haunt them forever.
Do you think that Aaron Rodgers had a hand in Salah's axing?
I don't think so.
I don't think he had a hand in it, but I feel like he didn't care. I don't think he really was like, "Oh, I
No,
don't want him
absolutely
gone."
no.
Salah's a good
absolutely
defensive
not.
guy. Definitely, I don't think he was a good head coach.
Yeah, and he's already on staff in Green Bay.
I saw that.
Exactly.
That's
I saw some
interesting
tweet. It said like
scenes.
there's a scenario this year where
He
Robert
brings the
Saleh marches the
Lombardi down.
Lombardi in Green Bay, Wisconsin,
I'm
with
just-
A-Rod in New York.
I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers is the biggest problem with this Jets team, and all the Jets are trying to do is please him, and he is not able to do, and that's not able to happen when he won't take fault for things that are going wrong.
I mean, they went all in on a
They went all in on a
ayahuasca enjoying.
They went all in on
40-year-old.
a 35
And Hassan Reddick
plus-year-old
comes back
coming
tonight.
off an ACL.
Hassan Reddick also comes back, but that's the final I can
don't know
really
how
talk
I don't know
about.
how much that means, but this Jets season has gone the opposite of what they hoped, and this Giants season has just been terrible, just like most of them are. But on the other side of this break, we're gonna be talking some Mets. I know Kurt's excited for that. Some Mets funeral talk, and we have a live interview
Rest
with
in
Mike
peace.
Fitzpatrick of the Associated Press to talk some World Series where the real New York team is playing.
Oh my God.
We're live
Have
on
the same
YouTube
amount
right
of wins
now.
on the World Series.
And will be pre-recorded for 90.7 from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. This is One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show.
I'm Chaz McAdams,
And I'm Ben Oppenheimer.
and we are two of your hosts for On the Hill, the flagship podcast of Fordham Athletics,
We'll be talking about everything from football at Moglia Stadium,
to hoops at the historic Rose Hill Gym.
discussing the ins and outs of all Ram athletes, teams, and big games.
If you want to be part of the Ramily, then listen to On the Hill from WFUV Sports.
welcome back into one-on-one, and it's finally the time we've all been waiting for today. It's finally to talk some baseball, and joining us now, we have a very special guest. We have Associated Press baseball writer Mike Fitzpatrick joining us, and we're ready to talk some World Series baseball. I don't know about you, but this series last night, that was an insane game, and it was just one of the best game ones I think we've seen in a very long time.
Is doing this morning or this afternoon, I guess. Yeah, just a tremendous ball game last night. Really fascinating, both from a managerial perspective and a fan perspective. It was game one, Yankees Dodgers, all this excitement, all this hype, and the opener definitely delivered.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get right into it. What did you think of the choice there in the 10th inning of going with Nestor over Tim Hill and going with the guy who hasn't pitched in a long time?
Definitely very interesting. It's certainly debatable. I think the important thing to remember about going with Cortez there is that he wasn't being brought in just to face Ohtani. With baseball rules that changed a few years ago, if he comes in there, he's got to face three batters, which means Mookie Betts behind him, which is a right-hander, obviously. So I think part of it is that Boone liked the matchup, not just of Cortez against Ohtani, but as long as he doesn't as long as Ohtani doesn't ground into a double play to end the game there, he's going to need to face Betts as well. So I think he likes, the combination of Cortez facing Ohtani and also facing Betts behind him. Cortez is normally a starting pitcher. He faces a lot more right-handed hitters than Tim Hill does, who's used to coming in lefty-on-lefty specialist situations. And, I looked it up afterwards. Ohtani was 2 for 12 against Cortez going into that at-bat without an extra base hit. And Mookie Betts is 0 for 5 against Cortez. Tim Hill, Mookie Betts has a home run off of Tim Hill in his career. Small sample sizes, but I think it's 2 for 5 with a walk and a home run for Betts. And I think Ohtani was, 1 for 4 with a walk against Hill. So, I think this is obviously a big reason that Cortez, got added to the roster here. He hasn't pitched in a long time, but the Yankees felt like this is a guy who we would use in a big situation against Ohtani and potentially Freeman, even though, he's been out for a long time. And, ideally it wouldn't be, he wouldn't get thrown right back in there. And that, in that situation, that heated a situation in the 10th inning of a one-run game with tying and go-ahead runs on base. But that's when it came up. And they had, I think, already made the decision going into this World Series that putting Cortez on the roster that this is a guy they would use in a big spot to face Ohtani and Betts.
So do you agree with the choice to walk Mookie Betts there, or you think they should have let Nestor face him?
No, I think you definitely walk Mookie Betts there. There's no doubt. His run doesn't matter. The winning run is already on second base. They when Cortez comes in to face Ohtani, the Yankees don't know that first base is going to wind up open after that. Where they can walk Betts. They think they're going to have to face Betts probably. So, but then you get Verdugo makes this tremendous play in left field and tumbles over the low wall there into the stands, becomes a dead ball. So the runners, each are given one base, by rule. And so now it's second and third, first base is open. That was, a little bit of a gift for the Yankees right there. They could walk Betts, not have to have the lefty on righty situation. And so, yeah, that was, you're never excited to walk somebody to have to face Freddie Freeman, but, your choice is Mookie Betts, righty versus lefty, or Freddie Freeman, lefty versus lefty. You definitely walk Betts there.
Hey, Fitz, for the next question I had was, for Soto's defensive miscues for the Yankees that allowed the Dodgers to get a 1-0 lead, what can be changed for him to be better in the outfield?
Hard to say. I think he's probably played better defense this year than anticipated. He was a Gold Glove finalist, actually, where he is a Gold Glove finalist in the outfield, in right field, which is a little bit of a surprise. I'm not sure how deserving he is, but he probably played a better right field than you would have expected. His reputation coming into the year was, not a particularly good outfielder. Certainly, okay. But he probably played a pretty decent right field. Right field at Yankee Stadium is a small field with the short porch, so that probably helped him some. He didn't have a great night last night. I thought the triple by Kike Hernandez that he caught, some flack for Soto for letting that ball get by him. I think some of that criticism is a little bit unfair. I'm not sure really what else he realistically could have done on that ball. I know it looks bad when it gets past him, but that's a line drive off a right-handed hitter's bat. It's slicing away from him. It was sort of, even with him in terms of depth. It wasn't like a ball that was going to drop in front of him and he made a dive for it and let it get by or something like that. You have to break for the ball when it comes off the bat, and as it's slicing away, you don't know that it's going to get by you until you're, en route for it already. And again, it wasn't something that was going to drop in front of him that he could, back up and knock down and keep in front of him. Maybe he could have at some point, retreated toward the wall there and prevented it from wrapping around the wall, and maybe he could have held, Hernandez to a double. But, I think he's already in pursuit of that ball, and it just winds up being one that he can't get to. And the other one, the big play really was, Soto's throw in from right field, when Ohtani hits a double hard off the wall, and Soto throws the ball in. I can't get on him too much there. Gleyber Torres has got to knock that ball down. He tried to pick it on a short hop or sort of half in between, half short hop there, and it glances off his glove. And, as a middle infielder there, it's a little bit difficult to keep in mind that there's going to be nobody around you right there because of the nature of the play. Anthony Rizzo at first base is going to, probably hold pretty close to first base there because it's not a sure double because that ball is hit so hard. So he's not necessarily trailing the runner. Ohtani could get hung up between first and second or whatever. Somebody's got to be covering first. The pitcher is backing up third properly. And Anthony Volpe, the shortstop, is out in shallow outfield there as the initial cutoff man, which is a little unusual. Normally you'd have the second baseman, out as the cutoff man and the shortstop covering the bag. But some teams do that on balls, deep to right field if they feel like their shortstop has a stronger arm. He becomes a cutoff man no matter what. But, with no play at second base, Torres has to just back up and knock the ball down and not let it hit off his glove. And so, I put that a little bit more on him than Soto, who bounced the throw. But that's a long throw. Torres definitely had a chance to back up and take it on a long hop and just make sure it didn't get away from him.
Hey, Fitz, Tucker here. I agree with all of that, and you mentioned a bunch of different points in this game where they were all turning points, things where certain decisions could have changed the outcome of the game, or certain plays could have changed the outcome if they went differently. But I think one of the biggest decisions in the game was Aaron Boone's decision to pull Garrett Cole with no outs in the seventh and 88 pitches after giving up a single to Teoscar Hernandez. Would you agree with that move to take out Garrett Cole there?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Obviously the game has changed. Sometimes people want to see especially their top starting pitchers going longer. Cole had gotten into the seventh inning. He threw a real good ball game. A lot of times late in games, I think you find managers, with their starter or even a reliever who's coming out for a second inning or something like that, and it's they're going batter by batter. And if a guy gets on here, I'm going to pull him. If he can retire the side in order, then it's his inning. And I think that's probably how Boone approached that inning. He had gotten 6 strong innings out of Cole. Look, with the construction of the Yankees bullpen, there's certainly an argument there that you want to get another inning out of Cole no matter what. You want him facing those hitters more than you want the Yankees sort of middle or setup relievers. You're right, he hadn't thrown a ton of pitches, but he had labored a little bit in the previous few innings. If you remember, I think the 6th inning ended with Freddie Freeman flying out to the warning track in deep right field. So Cole had to work pretty hard in the middle innings to get through him, and I don't think it's the kind of move where you can look at it like, boy, that was a huge mistake. He took out a starter who was cruising after 75 pitches or something like that. I think there was you get a leadoff single there, hit pretty well by Teoscar Hernandez, and I can understand him feeling like Cole was sort of running out of gas a little bit there.
And we've talked a lot of defense and pitching so far, so I just wanted to ask you one question about the offense. Aaron Judge postseason struggles kind of continued last night. He struck out 3 times in his first 3 at-bats, but later on in the game, off of Brusdar Graterol, he rips a single up the middle. I guess the question would be, can he turn it around off of that single, and can he get going before it's too late for the Yankees now?
Yeah, I think he certainly can. Guys like that are sometimes, just one swing away from really going on a tear or just, hitting a huge home run. I mean, you saw it with Pete Alonso for the Mets in the playoffs. You saw Judge hit a huge home run against Cleveland, which was, a great swing against an outstanding closer, drove the ball to right field. That wound up being the only game they lost in that series, but, it was a huge swing late in the game that tied the game. Judge is certainly probably not at his very best right now. Some of that has to do with the pitching that he's facing in the postseason. The Dodgers are no different. They've got a lot of tough arms, on that pitching staff, and especially coming out of the bullpen. Certainly 3 strikeouts in his first 3 World Series at-bats were not what he was looking for in his World Series debut. But, obviously the single's a good sign. Hitters like that, again, it's just sometimes you can start to see them, coming out of a little bit of funk. I know his postseason numbers are not very good overall, both this year and the last several years, in his postseason career and everything. But you're right. At some point, he's going to need to deliver a big hit or several big hits for them to win this series, I think. But the single's a good sign, and in a short series, Aaron Judge is always a guy that you want at the plate. The Yankees are somewhat fortunate that Giancarlo Stanton, a couple batters behind him, is on an absolute tear this postseason, and it has made up a little bit for some of Judge's shortcomings.
And before we let you go, can we get a prediction for tonight's game and the rest of the series? Who you have winning tonight, and for the series, and how many games?
I really felt like it was pretty much a toss-up series. I leaned Yankees a little bit beforehand. Obviously, that's a tough loss in Game 1. They got an excellent outing out of their number 1 starter and had a lead in the late innings or 2 leads in the late innings and couldn't hang on. So, that certainly changes the complexion of the series. I also felt like, the Evan Phillips injury for the Dodgers was a big deal. I still do. Shortens their bullpen a little bit. They did get Alex Vesia and Brusdar Graterol back in that bullpen, so that helps. But, I think the Yankees will find a way to win tonight. They need a good outing out of Carlos Rodon, who's their only lefty starter, who maybe has a chance to neutralize Ohtani and Freeman a little bit for at least 2 or maybe 3 at bats in the game. I'm interested to see how Yamamoto pitches in this game. I don't think we've seen, he threw 5 shutout innings of 2-hit ball in the NLDS clincher against San Diego. He was outstanding, and he doesn't always go very deep in a game, but he has the stuff to completely dominate a lineup if he's on. So I'm interested to see how he performs in this situation. But I'll, if I had to make a pick, I'd say we'll go Yankees tonight, and maybe Yankees pull it out still pull it out in a long series. But that's a tough loss to come back from last night.
Well, love to hear the Yankees winning this series. Thank you so much again for joining us today. That was Associated Press baseball writer Mike Fitzpatrick. We got to head to a quick break, but after this, we have a live interview with New York radio legend John Sterling. Can't wait for this one. Super excited for this. This is One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show.
It's WFUV New York, public media from Fordham University, home of first listens and classic favorites. Tickets for Holiday Cheer for FUV are on sale now. Visit WFUV.org.
Welcome back into One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show, live on YouTube right now, and we'll be on 90.7 FM
Where do you keep getting
later
this
tonight.
stuff?
Tucker has another wardrobe change, another Yankees jersey, another Yankees hat.
I got all kinds of props.
He's got them
Where
already
are
in
you
the
getting
backpack.
them?
Yeah.
But it is time.
They're in my pockets, obviously.
You got some deep pockets.
Deep pockets.
From what Tucker is wearing, you know what time it is, and it's time to talk some Yankees World Series baseball. We'll hopefully be having John Sterling joining us in a few minutes, but as Kurt is holding up the newspaper.
We're talking Yankee postseason baseball.
So Kurt has the daily news.
You know-
Audio listeners love you to death.
sorry.
It says "nasty way to lose," and it has a picture of Freddie Freeman screaming
With
on
the World
on
Series
the
logo
back
right
page.
there.
And a sad picture
Yeah.
of Nestor walking off the mound. And what a brutal way that was to end the game for a Yankees fan, if you're a Dodgers fan or a Yankees hater, which there are many of at this station. The amount of people that were texting me last night preying on my downfall
I had to turn the
was
notifications
incredible.
off.
I didn't. If we're referencing this first, you preyed on my downfall first.
I did.
I was just responding.
I did say
I was just responding to the hate.
while I was on the subway, losing service in and out, having no idea what was going
Would
on
you
in
like
the
me
Yankees game.
to read out your?
I did say there was no one I would ever wish. I would never wish this upon my worst enemy, except for maybe Kurt Sippel.
He did say that,
Except
ladies and gentlemen.
I could never wish it upon him because the Mets will never be in the World Series.
Wait.
So he'll
I have
never
a question.
experience that.
Who's won World Series games this year? Not the Yankees and not the Mets either.
We're winning one
They
tonight.
didn't win either. Neither team has won a game yet.
But I want to get into last night's game before we look at the future of the series. The Yankees' offense was non-existent. They go down 1-0 on a bad.
Outside of the usual suspect at this point in the postseason.
Outside
now.
of Giancarlo Stanton, it was
What
pretty
an
much
animal.
a rough game offensively. They're shut out through 6. The one run for the Dodgers came on a triple that shouldn't have been a triple, and then a sac fly. So the Dodgers' offense was pretty non-existent there. Garrett Cole was spectacular. Obviously, you asked the question about whether or not should Cole have been taken out, whether or not Soto's defense was really bad defense, his fault, or just kind of a small misplay. But once again, Giancarlo Stanton comes through. Absolute skyscraping nuke. Put the Yankees up 2-1. Then we all know what happened after that. Another misplay, not really misplay, slow play by Soto, misplay by Glaber leads to a triple. That leads to a sac fly. Yankees score in top 10, and then, Freddie Freeman, nasty way to lose. Freddie Freeman rips a grand slam. Another controversial was putting in Tim Hill over Nestor, or putting in Nestor over Tim Hill, flip-flop that one, but I'm trying to think of who I want to start with here. The Yankee hater, or the guy that is decked out
I
in
wouldn't
Yankees
say I'm a
drip
Yankee
right
hater.
now.
I'm not saying I'm a Yankee hater.
On
I'm
their
not a
thoughts of the
Yankee
game,
hater.
because I feel like this one might get pretty rough between the two of you. I'll start with Kurt, see if he can rile up Tucker. just because Tucker's gonna give a little sad monologue. Let's start with Kurt.
I want to just read his text from last night out about him being so upset, which I agree with. When my team loses like that, I agree. It's not the angry where you want to break things. It's the angry where you want to look at a wall and watch paint dry.
Also, worst loss. I think we can agree. Worst loss of my life.
Yeah, it's definitely
Worse
up
than the
there.
Altuve homer.
Although, the Altuve homer I was pretty banged up over, and I mentioned before the show, the Brasso homer actually hit pretty hard. So even though that was the 2020 season, and it was the weird playoffs where there were no fans, and it was in Petco Park, but still,
what a time.
With what happened earlier that year with Chapman throwing at Brasso's head and all the beef with the Rays, and then to give up the home run to that same guy, the same pitch, it's just regardless for
this
for
couldn't
this
have
game.
been worse for the Yankees. That's just my whole. That's just my starting point for this.
No, it could have been
No,
worse.
no, it could have way
gotten
worse.
worse.
I feel like
It
this
could've
couldn't
been
have
worse.
gotten worse. I feel like
Could've been worse.
all your wind is just knocked out of yourselves. You had
Losing
a
a close
great
game.
No, you see,
you had a
the
great
series would
win.
be over.
You had a great start from one of your best pitcher, which agreed. I don't think it was wasted, but I also don't think that you needed to win that game. Game 1 was a must-win for the Yankees because Garrett Cole is your most sure starter you have on your roster, and I think as well you hope that nothing else goes wrong.
But I think this game showed that the Yankees can hang with the Dodgers. There was a lot of debate coming into the series, that the American League was a lot easier. The Yankees weren't battle-tested. You're about to find out a lot about what this Yankee team is tonight because you lose a game like that. But you look throughout the season, Yankees have heartbreaking losses. I know in the Guardians series they had that walk-off home run. We're still up 2-0, went up 2-1, but they've had these heartbreaking losses before. But you're really going to see what this team is made of. But last night's game, if they went out there, Garrett Cole got shelled, and the Yankees lost 8-0, I would have been
That would have been worse.
Worse.
That would have been a worst
'cause
case
you're
scenario.
looking that you can't
than
hang with
this.
this team, and we'll be lucky to scrape
They
away
hung
2
with the
wins.
team,
Exactly.
and also you let
But we
Flaherty
should've
go.
beat
You
the
let
team.
Flaherty. You let the Dodgers hold their bullpen a little more.
But the Yankees leave this game knowing that they can beat the
Led
Dodgers.
or Jack Flaherty pitched well enough that the
Jack
Dodgers
Flaherty
didn't have to
hit
use
well
it. And
enough.
like Jack
before
Flaherty was he
Juan
pitched
Carlos
well.
Stanton hit a
pitcher.
home run. I think that was a not a miscue by the Yankees, but if they could hit more off of him,
left the bases
then
loaded
make-
in that inning.
and then make the Dodgers go to their bullpen earlier, because this Dodger bullpen is something that they're itching to get to immediately. We all know that.
I disagree. I think the Yankees their starters are not great. Their bullpen's not great either. But
The
you wanna
Dodgers
stick
bullpen.
The bullpen's better.
the
I was
Dodgers starters.
I was talking about the Dodger bullpen.
Yeah, the Dodger
I'm
bullpen
saying
is better
you
than
don't
the
let
starters.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you were
If
saying the
don't-
Yankees want to face the bullpen.
No, you want to face their starters,
Oh,
and you want to
yeah.
hit off their starters to make their bullpen come in earlier, so they waste bullpen arms.
Fair enough.
So later in the series, you're not facing as many bullpen arms. But I don't think that the Yankees were able to do that yesterday, because you have Aaron Judge striking out 3 times. You didn't have great showings from everyone. You had Jazz Chisholm, who actually almost
couple
saved you the
singles.
game. He almost saved you
See,
the game.
I don't know if you saw this, because I knew you would have said something about it. Jazz Chisholm after the game, he may or may not have been tweeting or retweeting.
Oh boy.
Which after a walk-off grand slam, I'm not too much of a fan of tweeting about that you stole 2 bases and you're batting 130.
But you know what? Like he's been talking. He
That's-
was talking when he was over
Listen,
in the
I'm
postseason.
a-
but
I
after
really
that,
like-
a
does.
walk-off
Like, at
grand
least
slam, firing off some
You
tweets.
can't-
But at least he talks all the time. You know, like it's like
he's
his,
the big dog,
no,
and he
I
will
don't want to
talk.
say it's his brand, but at least
is
he's
his-
like
it
he's
is
true
his
to
brand.
himself. You know, like he
It's
talks.
definitely his brand, but it's
Talks when he plays well. He talks when he doesn't play well. Like it is what it is. It's
I
part
just
of his
think
game.
I don't know, retweeting people on Twitter like about your personal. Like he was talking about tweeting about personal.
Retweeting other people glazing
So
him.
like yeah,
That's kinda
and that's
crazy.
like another.
because
But
the
that's
guy
another issue.
tweeted out, he was like, "Show him you're that dog," or it was something like that. Like, or Jazz is that dog, and it's like, yeah, you stole 2 bases, but you also give up a walk-off grand slam. Like,
He didn't give up the
He didn't
walk-off.
do-
but I'm
he
saying
wasn't in
we,
the game
like, the
pitching.
The team, like,
Yeah.
you win as a team, you lose as a team.
Yeah, I agree.
And him going on Twitter and firing off some tweets is not, my favorite thing after losing a game. But it also shows, I guess, that this team is still confident. Which I guess
I
you have to
don't
like.
know about the whole. Talking about just the Yankees in general, it's coming back from. You can't lose tonight. You gotta shell Yamamoto early.
I agree, obviously, with the take that you can't go down 2-0. But if they go down 2-0, do I think the series is over now?
I do.
I like getting like.
Listen, I don't want
definitely
to not.
need to get to Yamamoto.
I don't
because
wanna
you need to
take
get to
the
the bullpen, and like obviously there's a travel day before they
Yeah.
come back to New York. But I would love like if the Yankees could get Yamamoto out of this game by like the 4th inning, maybe even the 5th inning. It would still require the Dodgers to use more relief pitching than they used last night, and just more relief pitching overall, and everybody would get a day off. But like things can go very differently in this series if Carlos Rodon goes further in this game than Yamamoto,
That's my one.
and
that's
if
a
the
big
Yankees
take.
get the win.
They can
But
shell
Rodon-
Yamamoto, but Rodon also could get shelled.
Rodon can also get shelled. 1, 2. Rodon was really good for you in the ALCS early, but can he do it again? This
Yes.
Yankee starting staff,
Mm.
I don't know if I'm never confident in it. I have not been confident in them forever. And who you start after that too, like at Yankee Stadium.
It's Clark Schmidt and Luis Heel.
Yeah,
That's already like
Heel
set.
is I was just, but like Heel is not someone I'm so confident on. So you want to win the game, and Clark Schmidt, I'm not sure either. The Yankees in general.
I'm more confident in Luis Seal than Clark Schmidt going forward.
I'm more confident in Clark Schmidt than Luis Heel.
Yeah, because Luis Heel is like this was his first ever postseason appearance, and I liked what we were talking about earlier with the fact that it was such a close game, and we were saying the Yankees hung with the Dodgers. I think it was the other way around. The Dodgers spent this game.
This game?
Yeah, the Dodgers spent this game hanging with the Yankees up until because the Yankees always had control.
They did.
They
even when
lost
were
the lead
down
early. They lost the
1,
lead
though,
early,
it
but they were
felt
down
like
1.
They
Exactly.
had the game still.
Yes, and then Giancarlo Stanton comes up in the next inning and launches a home run and goes up, and they go up 2-1. The Dodgers didn't have a lead again until they won the game in extras, and even so, the Yankees managed to scratch a run across against Blake Trinan in the 10th, and like not going to run, go up.
You
by
also
another run.
wasted very good defense by the Yankees too last night.
Also,
Great
There was
offensive
good. There was good. There was
bad
good defense and bad defense though. So those things
Yeah.
kind of like those things evened out. But I think like if we were looking at this series as like, okay, who's going to bring their game and force the other team to play their game? We watched the Yankees force the Dodgers to play their game last night. If the Dodgers had it their way and the way they had it in the entire National League playoffs, they would
blow
teeing
them
off.
out. But I don't think that that's not possible that the Dodgers can do that as well.
Oh, they could do that, but that's like a night-to-night thing. I think last night the Yankees brought their game and forced the Dodgers to play it. And the way things shook out, the Dodgers wound up winning.
You lose on your best starters' performance.
But that's fine because it wasn't even like
and you
we weren't
even let
talking
him
about
go
a
the
win.
entire
But we
time.
weren't talking about a win for Garrett Cole anymore. Like
You
the
needed to
game
get a
was
win
already
for
tied.
Garrett Cole.
But we weren't talking about a win anymore. In the last 3 innings of the game, Garrett Cole was a non-factor and he was no longer in the decision.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
but
we're
you needed to
on
get
relievers. Once
you
you're in the
needed
pen,
to win that
you're in
game
the
because
pen.
Garrett Cole was in the game. He was your number one starter.
While it was still Garrett Cole's lead to be had. Like once it's gone, you're
Yeah,
now
but
scraping
I'm-
together.
And that's
a
why that
win.
Yankee bullpen scares me.
I'm with
in
Kurt
general.
here.
But-
Is that the bullpen? When I was looking at the game, I was talking to FUV alumni and legend Colin Lochran. Shout out Colin. We were at both working the Knicks game last night. And we're sitting there after Cole gets pulled. I'm like, how are we covering? It was actually after the Stanton home run. It's like, how are you covering these last 12 outs? And realistically, like in that bullpen, you have 6 outs. You have Canely and you have Weaver. And those are the 2 guys that you can trust. I mean, maybe Holmes if the bases are
Weaver is
empty.
actually worth 5 outs if the
Yeah.
Soto Torres interaction
But he
doesn't
can't
happen.
be 5 outs every night. I'm saying
Yeah.
in a normal game, like those
Ideally.
other 6, if your starter goes 5 innings, you need 12 outs. 6 of them, you know who you're going to. The other 6, it's like, can Tim Hill give me 3? Can Jake Cousins maybe give me 3? Who else we got out there right
Mark
now?
Leiter.
Can Mark Leiter
Forgot he was on the roster.
come help
again.
out?
He had
and
a
get 3,
great
He did.
LCS.
Yeah, we were at.
but
formal.
it's so hit or miss. It's you don't know. You know that Canely you can trust. You know that Weaver you can trust. Holmes might now with how he's pitched these last three games he's blown.
I was gonna
soloed.
I was gonna ask Fitz about Holmes because I think like you being Max Muncy and only record an out and basically like set us up to lose the lead.
He's not fit for this Dodgers lineup. Like he was good
Is he
Yeah,
fit
but
for
who-
any
who's he
lineup?
taking-
no, because he
who
was
you
good
taking out?
versus the Royals and he was good versus
But
the
it-
Guardians
like,
because those aren't
the thing is it's the
power
formula.
hit. Like they aren't like they're teams that kind of like not that good.
But Holmes, Canely, Weaver has been the formula. It was the formula in the LDS, and it was the formula or in the LCS. That's been the Yankees' 7th, 8th, 9th, like I would say 3-headed monster, but they're not exactly a monster with the way that
It's
Clay
two-
Holmes
two-
pitches
It's
night
like
to night.
1.5. Canely with his 50 straight changeup.
Yeah,
changeup
exactly.
span.
That's another thing. What is that?
It works though.
Where did the fastball go? I don't care that it works. Like, be better.
It's working and it's striking people
Be
out.
just be a
Also-
better option. Like
Also,
I think he's still a good.
I'm
like,
scared watching him throw like changeup after changeup after changeup. The hitters know. They literally know the changeup is coming. If you make a mistake with that changeup, you're done. They know exactly what pitch is coming, and if it leaks over the plate, it's a homer.
happening for all of them though. All relief pitchers. It's just what it is.
the relief pitching of this playoffs hasn't been. I know Angel has
just-
some input here. Let's see what Angel's got to say.
I mean, you guys are saying everything I thought of, but ultimately, I think talking about the bullpen, you can't. I don't want to give them their flowers, but at the end of the day,
No flowers to
it
give 'em.
was
They
The-
have overachieved.
the bullpen achieved
Now.
yesterday. It was the defense that underachieved because you talked about Dodgers really didn't score off the main 3 that come out the bullpen.
No,
and-
they scored
and
off the
Holmes.
errors.
They scored off the errors, right? So, in a perfect situation, clean baseball, those
They do their
pitchers,
job.
they do their job. So that's why I can't really blame them or can't put much into those outings against the Dodgers. Now, the more and more that the Dodgers get to see these pitchers, that's when it starts to become worrisome because they get used to the pitches, and then they might be able to tag them later in the series when it comes to like a game 5 or 6 or whatever the situation is. Ultimately, it's the mental aspect of the game that kind of screwed the Yankees. You guys said it perfectly throughout the segment. The Yankees were in control of practically all of the game, even though Dodgers got the first run of the game. Once the Stanton home run happened, and then it was 2-1. I know we were all stressed about a 1-run game, but pitching-wise was never the issue.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, it was one of the least stressful 1-run games I've watched the Yankees play this postseason because
The runs were on sac flies.
Yeah, their runs were on sac flies. They weren't getting that much
Storing your
traffic.
computer?
By the time Teoscar Hernandez slapped that single up the middle, the Dodgers still only had 3 hits.
And that was really the only hard hit, or not even. It wasn't really a hard hit, but that was the only hit.
A couple of the fly balls were a little interesting. Like he sent there were a couple that went to the warning track.
Understandable.
But again, like I was saying in a bunch of group chats last night, they were freaking out that Garrett Cole was giving up like hard contact in the first inning. I was like, this is what he does. Garrett Cole throws challenged fastballs the first couple of times he goes through the order, and he mixes in the other stuff as it goes on. But he establishes the fastball sometimes to his detriment, but he still does it.
So I got something here that I just found on Twitter. Since 2017, the Yankees have 7 walk-off losses in the postseason, which leads all of MLB, and they have 0 walk-off wins in the postseason during that time.
Yeah, I mean,
brutal, absolutely brutal. Every single year.
It just means they.
And you can think about the one.
That means
per
they're one
year
of the
that's
hardest
happened.
teams. That means the Yankees have been one of the hardest teams to beat in the playoffs for since 2017. Because for that many teams to have to go to extras or go to the bottom of the ninth, down to the wire, and have to make it happen, like when you need a walk-off.
The coping among 3 Yankee fans I'm surrounded by right now is crazy.
It's not coping. Obviously, there's a horrible loss last night.
Even if it is coping, what else are you supposed to do with a 7-game series down the road?
And it's game 1.
Disagree.
You got to win. Yeah,
you have to win, and you have to win tonight too.
And you know what? Did I sit on the train last night with tears in my eyes? Maybe. And obviously that loss hit hard. But I'm not. It's not coping saying I still have hope for the series that they competed well. Like they can win this game. Our series. They can win the series. They can win the game.
Yeah,
they're sweeping the Dodgers from now.
It's one game.
Gentlemen's sweep. That was a donation.
Could someone please?
It's
someone
one
please
game.
clip
That was a
that,
donation.
Another game tonight.
That, please. The sweep
MLB
by Owen Kelty.
The MLB scriptwriters had to rig game 1. You know they had the
Rob
throwback
Manfred.
moments.
Rob Manfred.
They
was
had to
in
get
Owen's,
Ohtani up with the bases loaded. That was all scripted.
Wouldn't you want Ohtani to hit the ball?
4 Yankees win the next 4.
And
wouldn't you want Ohtani to be the one that hit that?
No, because
No,
then it would have been
no, absolutely
The script
not.
would have been too obvious. Like
not
Ohtani
even
comes
for
up,
script reasons.
gets a
for
game-winning walk-off.
For the mental battle reasons. The Yankees have to make Shohei Ohtani think that he is not doing anything for his team. They need to keep him from thinking he can do things in the World Series.
I think I might have to walk out of the studio.
Shohei Ohtani almost hit a home run.
For the script.
It was like a huge, like a
We're
piss
talking
rocket
about
off the wall.
scripts in the MLB
Yes.
right now. I'm
it's
going.
all
crazy.
sports are rigged.
I'm not.
They're all scripted.
Oh God.
I'm not talking
Owen
about a script.
Kelty after a Yankees loss.
But I'm
is not
talking
okay,
about
ladies
do not let the
Sports
first
are
50-50 player ever. Do not let the National League MVP. Do not let the best player on the Dodgers beat you. Make somebody else
and they
do
let
it.
Freddie Freeman, who is
That's
another
fine.
great
That's
player
fine.
on the Dodgers,
Yep, that's
beat
fine.
you.
Honestly, that's fine
You
because
let-
I would rather
you
be
can
him
let
than
him-
Shohei.
You can let him beat you. You can let
At
Mookie
least-
Betts
at
beat
least-
you.
Kurt,
you
yeah.
can
Kurt,
let Freddie
Kurt.
Freeman beat you.
Kurt, we're talking about a player in Shohei Ohtani who has shown that he has close to 0 holes in his
You
bat.
cannot
I
let
think,
this man get
Kurt
hot.
was referencing
No.
like the MLB saying, wouldn't they rather have scripted Ohtani?
That is
in the
what I
home
was
run
saying.
instead
That
of
is
Freddie
what I was
Freeman?
saying.
yeah.
No, yeah, of
I
course
was saying
MLB
the
will
script. I
want
was saying
that.
the
In
script
reference
would
to the
rather
script.
beat. Yeah,
Obviously,
for
as a
sure.
Yankee fan, I
In
would rather.
general,
Although the script is kind of crazy with injured first
It is
baseman
scripted.
hits walk-off home run
Everything's
for Dodgers
scripted.
in
But-
World Series.
but
Kirk
I'm-
Gibson.
I'm just saying this is like a little ridiculous, guys. Like, yes, but this entire Dodgers lineup is filled with people who can beat you. Entire lineup is filled with people that can beat you and will beat you if given the chance. You can't say they're not. And it's not only Shohei Ohtani. It's not only that they have Mookie Betts. It's not only the guy who beat you last
Yeah, no, their
night.
lineup is ridiculous.
You have so many more people that can beat you. Teoscar Hernandez, Andy Pejas, like
yeah, but Teoscar Hernandez didn't do it though.
Kike Hernandez.
It's about shutting them
I mean,
down.
their
It's a
lineup's
hard,
Tommy
it's a hard,
Edman.
hard
But
lineup
that's
to
what.
get through.
But you have to try
So
to
is
get
the
them
Yankee
down.
lineup, though.
No,
All right.
I don't know.
can we just
Kinda laughed
sit
on
in
that one.
silence for a little bit?
The Yankee lineup.
The Yankee lineup is not that.
Austin
for-
Wells is only in for
for
defense
the-
at this point.
hold on,
Yeah,
Can we say that?
Austin
I know he
Wells
hit a World
has
Series.
become-
Austin Wells hit a home run in the ALCS, but that is it. He is a defensive. Like he is in there for defense alone. He is a hole in the order.
I'm at the point of watching Austin Wells play this postseason that I almost want Jose Trevino to play.
Absolutely not.
That's what
no,
I was.
no,
I have.
no,
I
The
have
defense
I
isn't
have-
there.
His arm
It's
is
because the
negative.
arm. The arm.
Austin-
You need to keep the Dodgers from running the base as well. And
Trevino's
Austin
arm
Wells did a
is, like,
perfect job of
free.
that. I mean, they
It's
kept
free.
Ohtani off the bags
Listen,
mainly. But
Austin Wells
He hasn't
is
been
not
great.
even playing to how bad he was in the beginning of the year. In the beginning of the year, he was atrocious, but he was hitting a lot of hard contact, and you can admit there was some unlucky parts to his game in the beginning of the year. If you look at his expected batting average, it was higher. But now, during this part of the year where it's like make or break, he is swinging high fastball. He's not making contact. He's having terrible at bats. I'm sorry, but I'm getting to the point where I almost want Trevino catching to.
What would you say to Jose Trevino starting and Austin Wells as a defensive substitution late?
That's okay.
Not late, but
that's
like
okay.
I'm talking like six maybe by the third time around, Austin Wells can hit.
I think my problem with that though,
he's horrible, and he's so susceptible to the upstairs fastball.
Trevino's arm is such a negative, and Austin Wells' ability, like I don't know if I see Trevino as that much of an upgrade at the plate, but Austin Wells' ability to maybe connect with one and hit
He's
a home
definitely
run
not an upgrade at the plate.
Puts him ahead.
Austin Wells has the power, and he can definitely get you an extra base hit, and
the extra lefty bat is nice too.
Like he could run into a home run.
I think the only reason why that you wouldn't think Trevino is because the Dodgers have no lefty starter, so it makes no sense to put the round right there when you have the lefty catcher as well. It's just really tough to watch someone not even have a competitive at bat. And now that's one hole in the lineup. You're basically playing 8 batters.
And you have him and Verdugo back to back.
But Verdugo's
not even that bad.
Yeah,
he gets on base sometimes.
The only
sometimes is crazy.
Sometimes
it's
better than Austin Wells.
It is. But I'm saying sometimes in a World Series lineup when this is a team that should have waltzed to they waltzed to the World Series. 1, 2.
Waltz is strong. The Guardians gave him a run.
That's a strong word. I don't like when people say that.
It was a 5 game. Yeah, it was a 5-game series, and
that could have gone 4-1 Guardians.
Yeah, they could have lost to the Royals.
No, they ran through the Royals.
Thank you. And then what else? The Guardians.
No. I'm saying the Guardians series. Every game was close enough where if you were a Guardians fan, you could have said, "Hey, we could have won that series 4-1."
It was possible.
The CS,
but the Yankees still had a easy time. The Dodgers faced
There's nothing. Kurt.
The Dodgers faced harder opponents than the Dodgers faced harder opponents than the Yankees. Yes or no?
Yeah,
Tell me yes or no, Angel, right now.
Only the Padres.
There was worse pitching in the National League the entire time.
Yes.
You're telling me the Mets were not a formidable opponent.
The Guardians
you can't go back and forth. You can't go back and
pitching.
forth between the Mets and Dodgers scoring like 8 or 10 runs apiece
yes,
game
but
to
it was
game.
Still formidable
The Mets got smoked in almost every game except for they did smoke
almost
twice.
every game is crazy.
That
they
series,
gave up like 8 runs every game.
That series was basically a blowout each game.
Series
there was no close games. You knew the winner off the bat when it came to the Mets and
Just
Dodgers.
saying,
That's why
I
if the
think
Yankees
it was a
continue,
lot more.
If the Yankees continue to play close games against the Dodgers
I don't think
as time
that
goes on,
happen.
As
a Mets fan, I've watched enough of this Dodgers.
You didn't
lineup
play a single close game versus the Dodgers. You didn't even play a close game to get walked off.
I'm not playing.
You wish you got walked off in a game.
I'm not playing. Do I look like Aaron Judge?
The Mets got walked off. You wish you were close enough to get walked off.
This guy is better than Aaron Judge this season, at this postseason.
Obviously, he's the best hitter in the postseason.
This guy is Aaron Judge.
He's the best
This
player
guy is
this
Aaron Judge.
postseason.
Okay.
That's not even an argument.
For all the radio listeners, I am holding up the poster of Stanton that has been in the middle of our desk this baseball segment. Just saying that you want to talk about this entire roster for the Yankees and everything else, and your stars aren't doing it.
Why are we acting like Carlos Stanton's not a star player? He's
That's
a
true.
former
Yeah.
He's
MVP.
more of a star than Aaron Judge.
He's up
not
there.
More of a star.
No
but
one
he's-
is saying that he's more of a star.
Judge
What
Soto
you're acting
Stanton is like
Stanton is a bum. Like,
big 3.
This
I'm
is
not
a
acting
former
like he's a bum, but he
MVP,
hasn't been
Hall
that
of
great.
Famer.
He hasn't been that great
In the regular
playoffs.
season, it doesn't matter.
Like, we're not,
regular
no,
season
no
goes
Yankee
away.
Fan is
Nothing
shocked
matters.
about
Well,
what Carlos
I'm not
Stanton's
saying the
doing.
regular season doesn't matter at all, but I'm saying when we're talking about the postseason, we always say at the start of October,
It's
the regular
Stan-
the regular season goes away. It's
no
a brand
Yankee
new
fan
season.
Is shocked by what Stanton is doing, but every other general baseball fan is shocked. Like,
Which
no
is
one's
crazy
shocked
to
about
me.
What he's doing. I understand that it was happening, but for your star, who you're paying $360 million,
Paying him $300 million.
you should pay him right now.
I mean,
Hal
Stanton
Steinbrenner's
is
not
getting
doing
paid.
that.
Yeah, Stanton's paid like a star. Like, you're looking at this. The lineup is supposed to be like Stanton's not just supposed to be a throw-in. Like, he's supposed to be a part of the big 3 of this lineup.
He's supposed to have 4 hits in a league championship series, and they all leave the yard.
I don't think that Stanton and Judge not hitting is going to lead to a Yankees win in a World Series.
You mean just
Okay,
Judge?
but
Yeah.
Stanton
Yeah.
is
Just
hitting,
Stan- I meant
so
to say
let's
just-
fix
I meant
that.
to say
Just
just
Judge.
Stan-
if Judge doesn't hit, they're not going to
Yeah.
Judge.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
If Judge doesn't
I mean,
show up,
we
they
saw
will
that.
lose.
Only Stanton showed up with the bat last night, and they didn't. The
But
Yankees
you
didn't do
know
anything.
you can rely on Soto and Glaber. 'Cause
What-
Glaber's very
as-
good, but-
Good pitching
Yes.
matchups
As the
start
series
happening for
goes
the
on-
Dodgers, and the Dodgers start shelling your starters, which is entirely possible because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how confident either of you are,
We'll
all
see.
of you, in this Yankees starting
I'm-
and the
I-
Yankee bullpen.
I'm confident.
I wasn't confident in
so
Rodon.
confident.
I wasn't confident in Rodon for a long time, but I think I am a little bit now. Even though he's on extended rest, and it probably is like a weird schedule now with the 7 days, but I think we can expect at least into the 5th from Carlos Rodon,
And you're going
we're
to
g-
who in your
we're
bullpen?
maybe
getting
more.
we're getting 5 to 6 from Rendon.
It's gonna be matchups again. Like you
Yeah.
can't really know who
Tim
because
Hill,
it'll
you'll
it'll
know Jake
depend
Cousins
whether or
again.
not they have like a couple lefties coming up or not.
And
like,
Jake Cousins
but,
has been good, except for in the closer
But
role.
pretty much just imagine everyone is
Closer's a different
available.
animal.
Everyone's available tonight who didn't pitch last night, probably plus Luke Weaver.
You
again.
still-
Luke Weaver's definitely
You
available.
still have a
I don't know-
full-on
I don't think
start
they
in
go
the
back to
bullpen.
I don't think you go back to
Still have
Canely
still
because
have
he was in
Stroman
there
the
for a
bullpen
while.
And still have Heel in the
You're
bullpen.
gonna bring out Stroman now?
He's in the bullpen.
If needed, yeah. You don't
That's like
think
a
if you
Nestor-
need
Also-
if
like
you
Nestor
if
coming
no
back
if you
out.
need chunk innings
No,
if you
because
need chunk
Stroman's been
innings
healthy.
and I would give it to Stroman if it
When
was
the
early
last
enough.
time he pitched?
His last start of the season. But he's still like
You're
I
gonna
would
pitch
still
him in the World Series. Good idea.
Kurt, there's
with
one
3 outs.
Kurt, there's
with
one thing I
extended
want
innings.
I want you
Pitching
to know.
Nestor on 37 days rest didn't exactly pan out
Th-
And neither will
to
and
that
neither
to that
pitching-
point.
Kurt, I love you, man.
Stroman's facing live batters though.
Yeah. Besides the point. There's
You know,
one
He hasn't done it since
Let-
the
No, he
regular
is.
season.
They have him face live batters at like every week.
That's wonderful, but he hasn't like
He's
actually
pitching Aaron
faced.
Judge.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
in
He's pitching
batting
Carlos
practice.
Stanton.
he's pitching
Carlos
to
Stanton.
actually Aaron Judge.
that goes to everyone in the postseason, man. All right, that just joined the roster. Okay,
So much
Dodgers have
extended rest. Like
exactly. Everyone was not
Who does
playing.
the Dodgers have that are
Gustav
doing that right
Gratterall
now?
just came back, and Alex Visa.
Yes.
Vesa? Am I saying his name right?
I
Vesa.
Same idea, but those had both been out since the regular season, and they just came back.
Also, one thing I feel like I have to throw out this because Kurt wants to like blast on the Yankees starters. One statistic that was talked about a lot on the broadcast yesterday, the Dodgers
The
can
innings.
no, the Dodgers cannot hit fastballs up when it's 97 and above. Who do the Yankees have that throws 97 and above high fastballs? Garrett Cole, and he showed it yesterday. Carlos
Did they win
Rendon,
that game?
and then
against
Luis
Garrett
Hill.
Cole yesterday. Luis Hill has
They-
shown
no,
you
that he
see-
has a lot-
no.
and
I
you
can
see-
honestly say no.
Luis
The Dodgers
Hill's-
did not win a game
Luis
against
Hill's-
Garrett.
They did
the
not.
Dodgers did not win a game last night against Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
And if Garrett
I-
Cole
it
pitches
happened.
again, Game 5, I can see the
They
same
didn't.
results.
They didn't win a game against
Yeah.
Garrett Cole.
And I think
They
that
lost a
it
six
can
inning
happen
game to Garrett
Rodon
Cole.
too, and it can also happen to.
Yeah, but like,
And it will.
But
I
the-
am
you-
more confident that it happens against Heel. My last
you just
point.
have to
my
have more
last
trust
point-
in the bullpen.
My
than
last
this.
point. I wanted to see the Yankees win this series because I don't really mind either team at the moment. But for me, the Yankees bullpen and the Yankees starters stress me out. I don't know how they don't stress you out, and I don't know how you're not thinking about this game and being like, I don't know what's going on.
It's
here.
the same thing for the
Just
Because
saying,
Dodgers.
it's a
Rodon-
freak.
It-
It's like a free.
exact
It's
same-
basically
yeah,
like a
same
freak
situation.
accident.
Angel's saying
Dodgers.
it's the same situation as the
I
Dodgers.
don't
The Dodgers have
the Dodgers
three starters.
bullpen is a lot better than the Yankee bullpen.
The Dodgers have a
Yes,
bullpen
yes.
game
The
coming.
Dodgers bullpen is
yeah,
better.
and the
Yeah,
but in the last
Angel-
bullpen,
Angels
the
made it
Guardian,
one.
the Guardians bullpen is right up there with the Dodgers, and the Yankees
Dodgers-
got
yeah.
to the Guardians
the
bullpen
Guardians
once
bullpen's
they
better.
What a
saw
great
it.
Guardians
point.
bullpen's the best in baseball.
the Guardians bullpen got smoked by the Tigers too.
Okay, the Dodgers
Good
bullpen got
hitters.
smoked by the Mets when they
Yeah.
won those games. They got
And-
smoked
and
by the
the
Padres
Yan-
when they won
The
those
Dodgers
games.
ran out their closer, their guy, who's supposed to be like lights out in Blake Trinan, and he coughed up a run in extras that gave the Yankees the advantage going into the bottom half. I am not worried about Yankees hitters getting to the Dodgers bullpen. I'm also not really that worried about them getting to the starters because it'll happen. As the series goes on, it will happen, and I think at Yankee Stadium it's going to be a whole different animal for the Dodgers to have to handle. But, like we've been saying this whole time, tonight is going to be very crucial. But as a Yankee fan who watched Game 1 of the World Series and watched the Yankees be mostly in control of the game, as long as they bring their game again, they can give themselves chances to win. They had chances to win last night, and they couldn't get it done, but we've seen them do that before. They did this in the possible clincher against the Guardians in Game 4. They did something similar against Kansas City in Game 2, where they basically didn't show up at Yankee Stadium and threw the game away. the
anymore.
No, but the defense isn't locked down. But this is why we have a 7-game series.
our,
You can't do it in a
heartbreaker
5-game
for
series.
Game
The
1
Yankees
game.
barely got away with it against the Royals because when the Yankees lost Game 2 to the Royals, that had me stressed out because that's a 5-game series and you can't afford to drop a game in a 5-game set. But in a 7-game set, you can absolutely afford to drop one, and especially in a fashion like that because they had opportunities to win. And literally, we've talked about it multiple times in this segment. There were 3 or 4 different moments that we can trace to where if things just go the Yankees' way, or if they make a couple cleaner plays, we're on a completely different narrative today. We're talking about I don't know, maybe we're talking about a Yankees in 5.
We're not in that ultimate
but we're not
timeline.
there. So
still
so
Yankees
going
in
into
5.
tonight,
If the
anything can happen.
So my pick for the World Series, if the Yankees don't win tonight, Dodgers in 6. If the Yankees win, no, Dodgers in 5. If the Yankees win, it's Yankees in 6.
The Yankees are going to win the next 4, and when they do win the next 4, I'm going to dye my hair back. No, I won't do that.
That's
You're not
just
allowed
going
to
to
do that.
damage
I'm
it.
not allowed to do that.
It's going to damage it even more.
Exactly, I'll damage it even more.
Touch his
But
he's gonna touch his hair on a show, and it's gonna.
fall out.
it's gotten a little heated back here. We're gonna take a quick break. Let cooler heads prevail. We'll be right back. We're gonna take a quick one here. You're listening to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show on WFUV Sports YouTube and 90.7.
What's up, everyone? I'm Will Talent.
And I'm Evan Harkin. We're 2 of your hosts for NFL Friday, WFUV Sports' exclusive NFL podcast.
From breaking down the weekly slate to fantasy football pickups, we've got you covered on all things around the NFL.
Stay tuned for our hosts' weekly picks as they compete against each other all season long.
Football is here, and so is NFL Friday.
Welcome back into some one-on-one, and we got some more World Series talk for you guys, but I know a little last segment got a little carried away, a little heated, so we're going to try to focus this one on tonight's game, specifically Game 2, Yamamoto versus Rodon. Not any more about implications, but what happened last night, or what's going on in the next, hopefully, at least 5 more games. So let's focus on tonight's game. Pitching matchup-wise, Rodon, Yamamoto, I guess statistically or confidence-wise, you'd be looking more at Yamamoto as the favored pitcher in this game. But coming off an injured season, he hasn't been great in the playoffs. Me personally, I'm giving the advantage to Rodon, but I want to hear from you guys. Who's got the pitching matchup advantage tonight?
Well, it could be recency bias, but I think the run of form that Rodon is on in this postseason is a better run of form than Yamamoto is on.
Mm-hmm. Well, Yamamoto's only pitched 1 game.
Hasn't he
one
been?
game? It's 2
no,
games.
he started
Sorry.
2 games.
Sorry.
It's been twice in the Padres series. I think he pitched game 1 against Mike King, and then game 5.
And there's been and
wasn't
he got
sure.
shelled in the first game, right?
He got shelled in one of them.
Yeah. So again, we've seen 2 kinds of starts from Yamamoto, and we've really only seen 1 kind of start from Rodon so far, and that's been not a quality start by the actual criteria of a quality start, but what I would call a quality start in today's game. And for that reason, I want to give the nod to Rodon, even though he pitches a little bit worse on the road. I think he should be able to give the Yankees solid innings. But the big thing for me isn't the pitching, it's going to be the hitting. And I think we've already kind of alluded to that, especially talking about Judge and his inability, his postseason struggles. Judge has to wake up. And for me, in my opinion, Judge has to wake up tonight. Now.
And now we got something special going on. We're joined by an absolute legend of the industry and voice of the New York Yankees, John Sterling. How you doing on this morning in L.A., John?
Okay. The Yankees last night was brutal.
Tough
That
loss. It hurt.
Right. I've been doing this for a while, and boy, that's right up there with tough losses. But the new day, and it's bright and sunny here, and now the Yankees have to go and win a ball game here, and then they'd have done what they, would every team wants to do, split on the road. But the Yankees could have won last night so easily, but they didn't play well enough, and so they didn't win.
They couldn't get that last out to seal the deal and go up 1-0, which really hurt for all the Yankee fans sitting here right now. We got one Mets fan, unfortunately. But overall, last night, you got any positives that Yankee fans can just take away from the game going into tonight?
Well, I guess the positives are the big hits they've had. Glaber just missed a home run. Boy, that was a tough break. He made a mistake, though. He should have knocked down the ball when Soto threw back in to the infield. That advanced a runner, Ohtani, to third. He scored on a sac fly. Without that, the Yankees win the ball game, I think. But anyway, they handle themselves very well, and just that one damn play really hurt them, and the fact that Glaber's ball. Now, I agree with the ruling; it would have hit the very top of the wall, but it goes over. So that's not a big difference. In other words, if you're saying, "Gee, what do we need to do to win?" Yeah, make that ball higher. That's all, and knock the ball down in the infield, so you don't have the runner go to third where you can score on a sac fly.
Hey,
Am I talking too much?
No, you're
this
good.
is perfect.
Great.
Hey, John, this is Kurt. I wanted to just ask, this is your 8th World Series broadcasting the New York Yankees. Do you ever just step back and be like, wow, I broadcast the Yankees full-time professionally, and this is the World Series?
Well, I mean, I don't do anything for it. They make the World Series without me 100%. So I think of myself as very fortunate to have been with a team that's gotten to the World Series so often. And and it certainly is a kick. And as you find in life, you look at different things, and as you advance, and many times it gets better. And last night that was unbelievably exciting. First of all, the noisiest joint I've ever been in. And it was very exciting. I mean, that was so great for baseball to have two titans like this and play a game like that. So what has to happen tonight is the Yankees have to win it. And one thing, nobody knows what's going to happen. Joe Torre will be at the ball game, and he doesn't. How does he know what's going to happen? No one does. How will Rodon pitch? How will Yamamoto pitch? Who makes the error? No one has the answer, but it would help the Yankees greatly in the series if they'd win tonight.
Hey, John, Tucker here, and the moment is certainly different in the World Series for the players. The lights definitely brighter, but I just wanted to know that as a broadcaster, does the pressure ramp up for you as well in the booth, calling such an event as the Fall Classic?
Well, I guess if you would think about it, I don't. I guess if you would think about it, it could. But, once the game begins, you're calling every pitch. And so, you call them, basically like you call them. The game itself might be more exciting because it's so important. But no, I don't think that you call it any differently. A game is a game.
And you've said before the Yankees are terrible at base running. So I was wondering, of all the different Yankee teams you've seen in your career, would you say this is one of the worst Yankees base running and kind of defensive teams that you've seen, or are there some teams that beat them out for that?
Well, I would answer the question, and I'll be glad to give you a good answer. But I don't know if I can remember all the teams. But let's say this team has problems base running, and this team has problems on defense. Then you can't argue that. You can see that. First of all, I don't have anything in front of me ever, even when I do the game. I have my scorecard, and I don't have any, evidence one way or the other. Everything I do is by the old eye test, and so as an eye test, yes, they have problems running the bases, and they have problems playing defense.
Hey, John, I just want to take you back a few years ago, 64 years ago. It was your first day.
Wow.
It was your first time broadcasting professionally on air. What was that like?
Thrilling. Unbelievably thrilling. I went to bad timing. Getting a call. Bad timing. I got a job on a daytime station in a town that no one ever heard of, Wellsville, New York, way upstate. And it was for the princely sum of $60 a week. And I went on the air, and as I say, it was absolutely thrilling, and I've never gotten over the feeling. And it's something I love doing, and it comes easy to me. And I plan after this season is over to, on a very, very limited basis, I'll tell you what it is, one day a week, I plan to have a talk show somewhere in town, and if it's on the air February 1st, 2025, and then I would celebrate my 65th year on the air.
That's awesome.
Which is
Wow.
awesome.
No,
It's
I know
unbelievable.
I'm listening.
Amazing.
I'm definitely tuning in to that
all
talk
the
show. I'll tell you
time.
what.
All the time.
Oh man. Now,
So anyway, that would be a kick. That would be a real kick. And the fact is, I'm so lucky. Basically, for the last 60 years, I've had nothing but really good jobs.
yeah, and John, obviously you've done countless Yankee games, and among other other teams that you've broadcast in your career as well. And this World Series run, of course, is special in its own way. But do you have a favorite game or a broadcast from your career that you can remember, like just one that stands out in particular?
Well, I think the ones that stand out for me, my favorite year, and Susan's too, by the way, was 1996. and Yankees won, and they weren't supposed to do anything. And the whole Joe was the manager, so I had a friend as the manager, and everything was magnified that year. Just I can't explain why, but it magnified. And then in the playoffs, the Yankees won, but they had to come from behind in every game after the seventh inning. It was very unusual. And what sticks out for me are the three games in Atlanta. The Yankees down 0-2. David Cohn and Bernie win the Friday game. The Saturday game is the epic game. They're down 6-0 in the sixth. Score 3. Leyritz hits the game-tying home run in the eighth, and the Yankees get 2 in the 10th or 11th and win. And then win the next day 1-0. And those three games were ultra phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. This run that Giancarlo Stanton's on right now, it's unbelievable. Do you think in all the games and postseason runs that have you seen, do you think this is one of the best that you've ever seen, or you still have some that top that?
No, I don't think I have any to top it. His home runs are unbelievable. Last night he hit the ball so high that Susan said, "No, actually it was higher than the pole." And he's amazing that with that short a swing, it looks like he's killing mosquitoes, swatting them. He hits the ball that high and that far. No, he's had a phenomenal postseason, no question.
Hey, John, I just wanted to ask you, as a young John Sterling, you went to 3 different colleges, Monrovian College, Boston College, and Columbia, where you got to take a class at WNBC. What was that like for a young John Sterling?
Well, it was one of the luckiest things that happened in all these lucky events. I had to actually audition into the class. The guy made me read something, some dry pamphlet on building program. And at the end of it, he said, you have a pretty good voice. I'll put you in the class. Well, I got an A+. And the only A I ever received in my life. And the teacher, the professor, was the program director at WNBC then. And he said to me, "You're good enough to go out." Well, how do you go out? Well, he told me, you make up a tape, blah, blah, blah. And so that class was vital to me. You know, one thing, I'm very lucky. I'm not trying to knock education. I don't want anyone to knock education. Well, John said, no, I don't. It's just that I'm dumb. Yeah. But I never had a problem with I was a very poor student. I never had a problem being a poor student because I knew what I was going to do from the time that I was a young boy. I knew I was going on the air. And then after that course, that NBC Columbia course, then I just sent tapes out, and finally I landed. And think how lucky I am. I'm doing the thing I've wanted, and if I ever make it to February 1st, it'll be 65 years.
That's amazing. I just want to say thanks again for taking your time to call in for us today. We really appreciate it and taking time out of your day when we know you're really busy with the Call in the World Series. Good luck for the game tonight, and just let's go Yankees, I guess.
Well, and let's go Rams. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, let's go
come
Rams.
on. Go Rams, baby.
Rams and Yankees.
Yeah.
Need them to win today.
All right, be well.
Thanks,
be
John.
Well. Thank you.
Have a good one. And once again, that was the voice of the New York Yankees, John Sterling.
Wow.
Unbelievable to get him to call in. That was...
I was smiling ear to ear just hearing his voice.
God, that was great.
To us.
And how about that? Did we just break that he's planning on a talk show in February?
I was going to ask him that.
Has he announced that?
I think
did we just break that on the air?
I think we just broke.
Well, if the announcement wasn't already out, John Sterling is thinking about returning to broadcasting after this postseason and starting a talk show in the New York area. Once a week, I believe he said once a week. I think
once a week, yeah.
Starting in February of 25. So, Yankee fans, if you were worried about never hearing John Sterling's voice again, well, you don't have to worry anymore because he's going to be back.
Broke first on WFUV Sports, ladies and gentlemen.
One-on-one.
That's how we do it on one-on-one.
That is awesome. Him just calling in and all
How
his
about the Go
insight.
Rams shout out?
Go Rams.
Oh,
Come on.
Rams too.
In a season,
It's,
oh my
it's
God,
'cause
where
him and Michael K are close friends. I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah.
that's why he's hoping for the Fordham games.
yeah,
Actually, we can have a little
it's a
check
hard
in.
football team to root for.
We
this
can have a
year,
check
but-
in on Fordham football right now.
Actually, yeah, well, we could check on them. They kicked off at noon. But it's been tough sledding for the Fordham Rams so far this season.
No, we don't want to check in on Fordham football.
Oh,
How much are they
right.
down by?
Never
20
mind.
Lehigh is up 31-3.
And
21
okay.
plus.
So
Wow.
go Rams, but
Go Yankees is a different.
definitely go
story.
Yankees. I think definitely go Yankees and
Man.
definitely put some
Let's
weight
go
behind
Yankees.
that.
Big game tonight. Can't wait. And actually, I can wait.
We
The
can,
stress is
we can
hurting.
look through it a little bit. We got Rodon versus Yamamoto. I feel like Yamamoto's going to take it. Before we wrap up this show, I think it's Yamamoto is the big X factor.
Rodon.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Rodon can get shelled.
He
I
could,
think
but he
Rodon-
won't
so
because
can
he's been
Yamamoto,
good in the
but I think
postseason.
Yamamoto has
and
better
like,
stuff.
Like Fitz was saying earlier on the show, the Dodgers have a lot of lefties in that lineup that, like Carlos Rodon, will be more likely to shut down. He's the only Yankees starter who's a left-hander, and obviously Garrett Cole trying to throw to all those lefties. They weren't sure if he was going to make it a third time around in the order against that many lefties, and that's probably part of the reason why they took him out at 88 pitches. Carlos Rodon gives you an entirely different look in Game 2, and all the right-handers on the Dodgers I'll probably be concerned about, but you get like guys like Ohtani, guys like Freeman, Max Muncy. I'm just not going to be as worried about them because Carlos Rodon is pitching away from them. As long as he stays on that
Can't pitch
outside
around
part
them.
of the plate,
Can't pitch around them.
pitch around him. But
That haunted the
can't
Mets
make
during
mistakes.
that series.
Like you cannot make mistake pitches. Again, we saw what happens when you make a lefty-lefty mistake pitch to Freddie Freeman.
I think
That
I
was
don't know if
tanked.
it was a mistake.
Yamamoto-
It was a mistake.
That was a guy
90
who has no
93.
UCL, just like
We're
lobbing
going.
it in there.
We're about to go on a tangent again, but
Pitching
90
basically
can't
off
go on,
of
we
aura.
can't go on a tangent because we got to
I know,
the show.
93 miles an hour.
Nestor was pitching that game simply off
93.
aura.
Everyone knows. Everyone
like
knows
it.
the rules. You don't throw low and in. You don't miss low and
See-
into a lefty, and you don't do it against a Hall of Famer.
I don't
you
know.
can't
I'm gonna put
throw
this
that
on-
pitch against
Tucker,
Freddie Freeman.
Let
I'm
on
gonna put
fire.
this on. I'm gonna put this on your side.
You cannot throw that pitch. I'm sorry. 93 in his wheelhouse cannot be the what it was like 1-0. It was 1-1 maybe.
I think it was one.
It was
the
a
first
1-1
pitch. It was
pitch,
the
I
first pitch. No, it was the first pitch.
No, he
it
saw
was the first
pitch.
pitch of the at bat.
It was
the
first pitch.
Yes.
That's even worse.
But
When I
don't
saw
know.
the velocity was down against the against Ohtani. He threw a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Ohtani only popped it up because it was a slow pitch.
Yeah,
And then Freeman gets a hold of it because it's 93, right where he wants it in batting practice.
I don't know if you guys saw my tweet that I fired out last night, but the
Out of
Yankees,
many?
they were firing on all cylinders. But putting Nestor in that situation felt the same situation as the Bills putting DeMar Hamlin on the fake punt. It was
That
like
was
they,
crazy.
the Yankees thought that was a Disney Channel movie, and Nestor was going to strike him out, and they were just going to strike out 1, 2, 3. It's the same as DeMar Hamlin going in for that punt.
Anyway, in the
I don't-
last minute of the show, in the last minute of the show, I would feel like we're not doing New York sports justice if we didn't mention the fact that New York Rangers just extended their I would say their golden boy Alexis Lafreniere
their
has
golden
been
boy.
extended to a 7-year deal. AP reports it at $52.15 million total. It's a little over 7 AAV. So big signing for the Rangers. They locked down their guy for the next 7 years.
Big for
That's
a
big for the
5-1-1
Rangers,
Rangers
too.
team too.
Only question that this would raise now is what do they do about Shesty? But we'll
I
leave
mean,
we'll leave
he's
that
gonna
for
get-
the
he's hoping
Blue
to get
Shirts
paid.
fans.
I feel like you gotta pay him. He's
He
the
already,
only.
he already turned down like 11
he's the
million
only guy that
AAV,
shows
or
up in the
AAV,
playoffs
so.
every year, right? I mean, you're not
He's
even a
been
Rangers
your.
fan.
He's been. I think
I
actually
don't
that is
know.
your golden boy, but can't get into it now.
Yeah.
I mean, paying Lafreniere is great for the kid line. They're starting to, I guess, like show up after. Not all three of them are bust, which would have been really bad for the Rangers. Lafreniere was first overall pick,
Yep.
third.
He was the first overall
first
pick.
overall.
First overall.
He was
pick.
first. Capo Caco was second, and Hedel third. Second,
Yeah, something like
first?
that, I think.
Yeah,
Philip
if you-
Hedel might have been a first rounder.
If you miss on top of those picks, it's always going to end bad. And New York sports does that a lot. But that's going to be it for us today, talking some New York sports. This has been One-on-One, New York's longest sports call-in show. It was a great show. And that big game tonight. Let's hope the Yanks can even up that series and take this thing back to New York all tied up. Huge shout-out to Angel Ducret on the producer board, Daniel Malia with the graphics. As always, big thanks to Bobby Chaffardini, the sports director of WFUV, for Tucker Austin, Kurt Sippel, I'm Owen Kelty. One on One is a production of WFUV Sports.